Let's do it.
Most definitely. Yo, yo, yo.
We live, bro.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My bad. It popped up on my screen
No, you're
late.
good.
It said 9 seconds. My fault about that. Yeah, thank y'all so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate y'all. Welcome to episode 35 of the MMAHOLICS. Really appreciate y'all. For anyone that's catching this at morning, afternoon, or night, just really appreciate you taking the time out to come and join us for this card breakdown. Like always, got my bro. Co-host Nikki with me tonight. How you feeling, Nikki? You good, bro?
I'm chilling. 35 weeks is crazy. We had to been doing this for around a year now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has to be around a year. I don't remember our first card. Was it the Sarukian? And I don't remember. I want to almost go down our channel and remember what our first video was, but it's definitely around a year now that we started.
I was gonna say, I think I remember the first breakdown I was doing. I think it was like UFC 288. That was that Sterling and
Was it?
Cejudo card. That would have
Ooh,
been May of last year. That was like May 6th,
damn.
2023. So yeah, I definitely remember that one for sure with Aljamain getting that W. But yeah, now we've been at it for a little bit for sure. You know, just trying to keep tracking along. The last episode, you want to really want to appreciate y'all. Shout out to the boy Nick and Chris from Fight Realm. They really popped out for us. Help us do a great breakdown. We popped like over like 1,000 views on that episode, so that was one of like our highest ones. So if not our highest, so we really appreciate y'all showing the love on that one and giving us the likes for real. And yeah, for tonight, obviously we got the highly anticipated, you could definitely say UFC 309 pay-per-view Ultimate Fighting Championship 309, as I like to say. Yeah, we have the GOAT coming back, Jonathan Dwight Jones. For y'all like to know, Jon Bones Jones, absolutely. Record of 28-1. He has like 16 belts at home, so that's a lot of championships. The most in UFC history, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's fighting Stipe this time around, man. And it's cool to see Stipe back. We have not seen him. I think that was UFC 260 when he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. So it is cool to see the greatest heavyweight of all time make his return. But how do you feel about the annual New York pay-per-view? I know you're from around that way, so I know you probably got something to say about that for sure.
I love it, bro, and it's always a legendary card. You know, like Connor had a legendary performance against Eddie Alvarez. Uh, Alex Pereira versus Izzy, that was last year, or was it 2 years? I don't know. Pretty sure it was last year. Or was it 2 years ago now? Is time flying?
That was like November 12th, 2022.
Was it 23?
That might have been 22 because
If it's
UFC.
been 2 years already, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, because UFC 282 was when Magomed Ankalaev fought Jan Blachowicz. That was when Yuri was supposed to fight Glover Teixeira in a rematch, and that was UFC 282. And then I only know that because Jamal fought Glover the next pay-per-view in Brazil at UFC 283. And so that was 281.
Yeah.
That was 2022 because Jamal started the pay-per-view offs in January 2020.
That's right, because last year was when Tom became the interim and Alex won the light heavyweight. Wow, so that's been 2 years since that legendary card. But yeah, it's always a great event. I mean, it's the biggest stadium that you could fight at in America, in my opinion. Maybe in the world, we don't know until they start getting fights in those Spain and the Barcelona stadiums and shit. We have to see. But it's crazy. It's just legendary things happen. You got a lot of legendary fighters on this card. You got Jon Jones, you got Stipe, you got Charles Oliveira, you got a lot of young dudes, big names, Bo Nickel, Rufy. So I mean, great things could happen. I'm excited for it.
Nah, yeah, I really didn't like the poster for this one too. By the way, I always like for all like the New York posters, they always show the New York City like backdrop in the background. I really do enjoy that. They did that for UFC 295. So that it's really cool to see them like really like this poster is actually kind of similar to that one. It's like just blue and white and stuff like that. So like it is cool to see them actually get this over with. You feel me? I love this fight. I know a lot of people don't like that. I've been a fan of these guys for years, so it is cool to actually see them come in here and fight. I know everyone's talking about Stipe's age and stuff like that. But he's 42, obviously, and I get that 100%. But it is the heavyweight division, so we're gonna see how that goes. Want to give a shout out to the first person in the chat, Vulcan. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. He was here during our UFC 304 breakdown with the Muhammad versus Edwards card. So I really do appreciate him popping that again. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. Always a nice guy. Always love talking to you too, man, when I get the chance to. It's always a pleasant experience for sure. And did it for the 45 plus for sure. And yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty decent card. Like I said, man, on paper, before we even get into it, if I go on paper, I give it about a 7. I do like the two title fights. I only say 2 titles because obviously like they are 2 5-round fights at the end of the card. Not like we are going to need 5 rounds, at least for the co-main event, in my opinion. But yeah, it has a decent feature bout. Obviously they're trying to push Bo Nickel. This is like his second time fighting on the same card as Jon Jones. So obviously they just like having them together. Like one of the greatest of all time with one of the greatest prospects, you could say. Of course, Bo Nickel still has a lot more to show, but that's what he's here for. And he's fighting a grappler and Paul Craig. So really excited to see how that's going to play out. We got Karine Silva. I always love watching her fight. Really, 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 really killer. Big killer. She is, no pun intended. I'm honestly excited to see how this whole card plays out. We got Jim Miller on it too, obviously. But yeah, if there's anything you want to start with, I'm ready to definitely start with the first fight. And we can definitely get to it for sure.
Yeah, man. Just throw some things out there. Like Stipe looked in incredible shape. I saw that. You got a hometown legend, Chris Weidman, coming out of Long Island. He's fighting on this card. It's looking good. Got some good heavyweights down here on the early prelims. Got a really good banger. But yeah, we could start it off. We got Veronica Hardy and Eduardo Mora. You could take this one.
No, most definitely. I always love watching V fight. She used to do a lot of breakdowns on the Full Reptile YouTube channel with her now husband, Dan Hardy. Of course, she's back to fighting now, so obviously she doesn't have the time for that. But in terms of her style, really, really good striker in my opinion. Has really good footwork. How she'll stay on the outside. Really agile, really fast. Obviously, she's 5'4", so she's gonna be able to use that little speed to her advantage. And she's good at doing so. She's looked great ever since she came back. She was really young when she first got signed. So I feel like a lot of those losses were just because of her inexperience. Being with Dan Hardy as much as she is now has definitely leveled her up tremendously. We saw that in the Juliana Miller fight. Of course, you can't take too much away from that. We haven't seen Miller in a little bit. The Ultimate Fighter winner. I did enjoy watching Juliana Miller fight. I thought she had a really entertaining style. She beat Jamie Lynn Horth in a split, and she beat JJ Aldrich too. I definitely think that was probably like low key like the biggest win of her career, being JJ Aldrich. I feel like a lot of people were counting her out to win that fight. And I feel like that really showed that the level she had risen to with all that training that she has been doing with Dan Hardy. And with Eduardo Mora, a lot of people are high on her. She's coming into the UFC 30 years old. She missed weight in her last 2 fights, unfortunately. But hey, they're giving her another shot. So obviously they see something in her. Like she has a lot of finishes. You could definitely say that. She has 4 wins by TKO, 5 wins via submission, and only 1 via decision. So definitely a very aggressive fighter. She's getting knockouts and some, so obviously she's fairly well-rounded. In her last fight, she just lost to Denise Gomes in a split. And like I said, she missed weight for that. So hopefully she's really taking this one serious this time around. Obviously, she comes to win every time, but I think like she'll be, if she's in the best shape, making weight and things of that nature, I think she can put on a really good performance in this fight. This is a really close fight, in my opinion, now that I'm definitely looking at it more. Man, it's a pretty close fight. Most definitely. In terms of Mora, she is about I think about 2 inches taller than Veronica Hardy. So she's not too much bigger than her. She has a 2-inch reach advantage as well. And also, yeah, she's coming up to flyweight too. That's another big part about this. So obviously she isn't going to miss the weight. Hopefully not this time around. And yeah, we're going to see how this plays out. But yeah, I can't keep y'all too long. If I had to make a pick in this fight, man, I'm gonna go with Veronica. I like her a lot. You feel me? I just really, really like her style. You feel me? I like how she's in and out. I like her agile striking. Like I said, she comes from a really, really good camp with Dan Hardy. You already know they have a really good game plan for this fight. Whether that's like staying off the fence so she can't get held. Obviously Mora's the bigger girl, and she does have a lot of submissions, so she could take the fight to the ground if she wanted to. But I think Veronica's going to do a good job of not letting that happen, just with her speed, with her footwork. Staying off the cage, staying in the center where she can really use her strikes to her advantage. And yeah, we're going to see how it goes. But how are you picking in this fight?
Yeah, this one's interesting because Mora is moving up after missing weight 2 times. So,
2 times.
new division. You see this a lot. Fighters come into a new division and look really good. And oftentimes when this happens, they come into the new division and they're the bigger fighter. And it's funny. It's like, how you just came up a weight class. So she's gonna be the bigger fighter. She's gonna be fighting at a more natural weight. I would call it more natural only because she can't get down the weight. It doesn't feel natural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she's a physical grappler. So the extra weight should suit her well. Hopefully she feels good in the cage for her first fight there. Veronica Hardy though, she's a really good. It's her second stunt in the UFC. She's super precise. Great timing in her strikes, and she's not like a knockout puncher, but she like has good power in her hands. I like Veronica in this fight. I'm gonna take her to win by a decision. We're super high on her over here. I think we both picked her in her past 3 fights since she's been back or whatnot. So yeah, and she, good jujitsu for Hardy, so I wouldn't count that out. Just because they're gonna be grappling, I want to give the edge completely to Mora. I think she could throw up an armbar, triangle, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna take Hardy for a decision though.
And she's still young, she just turned 29, like literally 2 weeks ago. So that lets you know how young she was when she really first came in. This should have been the age she was when she got here, just fully, a grown woman, fully developed mind and body. And yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. But yeah, moving on to the next one. And shout out to Dan Hardy, by the way. Love Dan Hardy. Love his commentating. He's doing a great job in the PFL with the matchmaking and stuff. So really, really love Dan Hardy for sure. And I really hope they start doing breakdowns again. I'm always watching their channel for sure. But yeah, you can have this next one if you want to. Oban Elliott versus Basil Nakash.
So we got a big banger here on the early prelims. Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangster, has a lot of hype around him. People like him a lot because he likes to stand up. He's quick. He fight, his combos, it's a lot of 1s and 2s and then 3s and 4s. It's like jab, cross, and then hook. And he's just in and out a lot. He's been getting a lot quicker ever since he came to the UFC compared to where he was before. I was watching some tape. He's improved a lot. As for Hafez, super aggressive. He's like round 1 Chimaev. Doesn't last all the time that well. The JDM fight was really interesting because I was watching that. It's the perfect example for this fight because I'm not saying Oban's like a JDM, but it's the same thing. He's gonna put combos. JDM is like a 4-punch combo guy. Elliott's like a 2-punch, so it's not the same necessarily, but Hafez is gonna, grab you and take you down. He's gonna try and get you against the cage every chance he can, and it's gonna wear you out. Like no matter who you are, Elliott should be able to be quick and avoid a little bit, but I think Hafez in the first round, maybe in the first 2, should be having his way. I really wanted to take Hafez in this fight for a decision. I know a lot of people are writing Oban Elliott in this one just because of the striking advantage, but I don't think Hafez is going to want to stand and bang with him. And he has power in his punches too. So, I think this is going to be one of those fights where it's more about the moments than it's like the significant strikes and the takedowns, whatnot. It's more the moments. And I think Hafez is going to get the takedowns. Elliott could get up. He's really good at getting back up onto his feet, but I think it's just going to be like the excessiveness of Hafez. I think he could ride this one out to a split decision, in my opinion. But that's a lot to say because Oban is riding a nice win streak here. So how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, nah, man. I was gonna go with Oban Elliott in this one too. I really like his style. I thought Basil Hafez was having a pretty close fight with Mickey Gall. And I don't think Mickey Gall was like the highest level opponent. I do realize that was Hafez's debut. And he decided to stand up and strike in that fight. And obviously, wrestling is his strong suit. So I think he could have had a better performance if he did go for the takedowns in that matchup. But I do like Oban Elliott. Like Nikki was saying, I do like how he's able to get back to his feet. he's aware of the matchup heading into this matchup. Obviously, with Hafez's style, I mean, I think he knows he's the better striker. So if he just can just do a sprawl and brawl kind of game plan, I think he knows he can take this win. And yeah, obviously he's riding a lot of momentum himself. He's looked great coming out of Cage Warriors, out of Contender Series, and he's won his first 2 fights against Val Woodburn. Obviously, shout out to Val Woodburn. Decent win, you could say. And the Preston Parsons win, I thought was a really good win. I thought a lot of people were counting out Oban Elliott in that fight, and he came through and that was a minor upset, man. And he looked really good on that Manchester card. And yeah, and like coming into this one, I just think he'll be the better striker, and I think he'll be able to stuff the takedown. So I'm gonna go Oban Elliott, and I think he's gonna just continue to ride that Welsh train. And honestly put on for his nation. Obviously we saw what happened with Jack Shore against Yusuf Solal, unfortunately. And I'm still really high on Jack Shore. Shout out to Jack Shore, still a good fighter. I think Yusuf Solal is on fire right now, but I think Oban Elliott can really come out here and make a statement for his country for sure. And yeah. Vulcan giving some really good insight in the chat as always. I think Hafez got the better striking style, but Oban might have the better wrestling grappling technique. Close fight in all aspects, though, in my opinion. But I don't know these fighters too well. Nah, I feel you, man. It's gonna be pretty close. Like I said, Hafez definitely showed he will stand and bang on the feet. He has a good chin. He definitely showed that in the Jack Della Maddalena fight when he was gassing out and stuff too. And he took that on short notice and made it pretty competitive in a lot of people's eyes for sure. So I could see why you would definitely want to pick him. It's a close fight. The odds definitely indicate. But yeah, I was going to go with Oban Elliott though. And yeah, moving on to the next one.
I told you we weren't going to have the same picks this time around all the way down. I told you I'm going against the grain this week.
Nah, you're fine, man, for sure. Most definitely. Let's see how it goes, man. I hope Elliott can get it done. But, Hafez has good.
Before we get into this one, if I had to pick a fight I was least intrigued by, it would be this one, and then the Romero fight that just got thrown on last second. Personally, I'm not too interested in this fight anymore.
Really?
Compared to everything else, I'm just not.
Hey, shout out to Mickey Gall. Has a really, really fire walkout song. It definitely has his name in it, so it's always good when you can pull something like that off. Yeah, man, this guy came in when he beat CM Punk. Obviously, a lot of people weren't too high on that win. Took some adversity after that when he lost to Diego Sanchez. I think he said something about his liver failing or something like that. He had liver damage from it was something like that. And now in the present day, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Like we just mentioned, the aforementioned Basil Hafez. I thought he just, look really slow in that fight, man. I thought Hafez was just really more aggressive, and the pace and the pressure really gave Mickey Gall problems. Before that, he got knocked out by Mike Malott. I mean, it's Mike Malott, he's a pretty good fighter, obviously. So I don't want to, kind of rag on Mickey too much for that one. And the Alex Morono loss definitely doesn't look too good. Of course, that was some years ago. Back in 2021. So that was another version of Morono, the Great White. Shout out to Alex Morono. And yeah, his last win was against Jordan Williams, who hasn't been in the UFC for years at this point. So Mickey Gall is definitely on the downward spiral, not spiral, but on a downward train, you could definitely say. I just think he's really declined, man. He's 6-6 in the UFC now. He still has good grappling, you could say. I definitely think he has better grappling than he does have striking. I think that's his route to victory, but I think Ramiz Brahimaj has good wrestling himself. I think he'll be slightly stronger in the clinch. I get he's the smaller man in this matchup. Mickey's 6'2", while Ramiz is 5'10", and he has a 73-inch reach. Either way, like my man Nicky said, not many people are interested in this matchup. If you check Topology, Brahimaj getting 69% to Gall's 31%. So, that's crazy. And Michael Jackson's crazy. You're right. For sure. And again, shout out to Mickey Gall. This dude came in on looking for a fight. He was 0-0. When he first got signed. So Dana thought it was perfect to match him up with CM Punk to see where CM Punk was at the time when they fought. And Mickey just came out and y'all saw what happened. Shout out to Phil Brooks, obviously, WWE superstar. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much longer. I mean, it's a close fight. You could definitely say that. Like I said, Mickey's the bigger man, and like he is a good grappler, and Ramis does prefer to grapple, in my opinion. At least like from what I've seen from him so far. Also, yeah, I do gotta mention. I'm pretty sure like when he was in that Max Griffin fight, his ear had like got sliced off at one point. Like that was like his debut, and it was like absolutely insane. Like to see that. So this guy, yeah, injury, yeah, that was in 2020. So he is super duper 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 tough. Ramesh Brahimaj is because he was gonna keep going. Like his ear was literally hanging. Like it was crazy to see it got cut off by the cage like that. That was like so
That's
crazy.
crazy. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
man, that was super crazy. That's crazy looking back on that. I forgot that happened. But yeah, see, like, yeah, Vulcan, like, yeah, that shit was crazy. That was crazy when his ear, like, that was crazy. Just for that, I'm gonna go with Ramesh Brahimaj. I think he's really, really tough. He's a good grappler, fairly strong himself. I know that obviously Mickey's the bigger guy, but I think Ramesh will be able to close that size gap with technical ability. And yeah, I mean, obviously, this fight is what it is. Both these guys coming off losses. Mickey's lost 3 in a row. And I mean, I get it. Like those 3 guys he lost to, they are fairly good fighters, especially the Mike Malott. But he hasn't really fought. He like that. He hasn't been that active recently. And I think at least Ramis might be a little hungrier in this fight, knowing that he at least won a fight recently. Of course, he lost his last one, but I just think like he can get this one done. It's just a prelim fight though. At the end of the day, it's gonna sit back and enjoy this one, not betting on this one or nothing like that. So, yeah, how you feeling?
I'm taking Mickey Gall in this one. I think he'll win a decision. I just think he's the
Nah,
better MMA fighter out of the two. I just don't think Ramirez is like all that amazing at striking from what I've seen.
mhm.
He's like a submission guy. He's gonna try early to get submissions. If it doesn't work, like what now? Kind of situation.
Right.
Shout out Ramirez is from the Bronx. He's a hometown person. Gall's from Jersey. He's right across the bridge. They're both gonna have fans in the audience. So I mean, more of a momentum thing. Every time someone punches, the crowd will go crazy. They're both hometown guys at the city. Like you're from Jersey, you're from New York at that point. No one really they group you in. But I'm gonna take Mickey in this one to win a decision. I
Mhm.
like I said, I think he's the better mixed martial artist, and this isn't a BJJ contest.
Nah, yeah, I get it, man. Again, like we're gonna see what happens, but I think he's taking some damage in his last few fights. Like, of course, like again, they're against good guys, and like anything can happen. You feel me? Like he's yet to get a knockout in his career, but like he's lost to some good guys. Like the Basso fight that was fairly close. They were going toe to toe on the feet. So obviously he didn't get too blasted by Basso and around like that. We'll see what happens though. Like, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Shout out to these two guys. Nikki's right when he says they'll both have fans in the audience. So, we'll see how it goes, man. Most definitely. But yeah, going into this next one, Marcin Tybura versus Jonathan Denise. You can have this one if you'd like to. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this one's interesting. I mean, we got Ty Bora, who was ranked number 10 when Tom Aspinall faced him as the number 5 guy before what led to Tom Aspinall getting a interim title shot.
Most
I
definitely.
always like to reference that because it was just so interesting to me. Uh, Tom got it, and like, yes, Tom's a great fighter. Just getting sidetracked a little bit, but it's because Pavlo just completely destroyed everyone else up there. Tybura is a good fighter though. Didn't get to showcase nothing in a big fight for him because he just got put out by Tom, like everyone does apparently. But Tybura has very great grappling, and this is interesting that they have him coming into this fight as the underdog. I'm almost positive against the undefeated young guy. Um, I see fraud check on this one. I think Deniz is getting pushed into something that he's not ready for. I think Tybura is really good at grappling. Um, there's the knockout chances of a heavyweight fight. All heavyweight fights have a knockout chance, but I just think Taipura's grappling here is and experience. Experience. There's a big fight experience between these two. Um, I could for a heavyweight fight, I could see this one going to a Tybura decision, a majority decision, or he could sub him. I don't know. I didn't see much of Deniz and how his grappling defense is personally. But I think I'm gonna take Tybura in this one. I smell fraud, Chuck.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the experience as well. We've seen Marcin Tybura weather storms before and just lay on top of fighters and just get the fight done like that. He's fairly durable when he's not fighting Tom Aspinall. I just think Tom hit him really hard, hit him really fast, and it was a super precise strike, which we all saw the result. And yeah, I was gonna go with Tybura as well. Um, a lot of people on Topology think Tybura is gonna get smoked in this one. Obviously,
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. It's because the money has him as a favorite, you know, and I think money talks. People saying, "Oh, he's the favorite. Oh, he's 8-0. Oh, he gets a few knockouts. He's gonna do it here." But I mean,
Nah, yeah. We'll see what happens. Like either way, I got Tybura in this one. I do think he can get a decision. Definitely just make it out of first round. Get him tired in the second and drown him in the third, and just get the decision victory. Hopefully, he doesn't get too tired in this one. He's usually in relatively good shape. When he comes in, of course, like his physique might not do it justice, but I do think he's made for his style. Has good wrestling, decent striking as well. He can get that leg up there for a head kick. He's done it before. So I do got Marcin Tybura in this fight, most definitely.
that's 26 professional fights of a difference, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of professional fights, of experience. So I feel like that's a safe pick.
Like for real, like this Denise guy could go on to be a future champion, and we're picking against him,
Who
and like
knows? He's gonna get pushed if he wins this one. 9-0.
I'm seeing he's coming in undefeated and shit. Like, hey,
I didn't know. Now he's getting Derek Lewis next thing you know. Like,
we just don't know. Seriously. Yeah, nah, this one is super, super duper lit. I ain't gonna spend too much time on this one. I love David Onama. This dude's really, 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 really fun to watch. We saw him in the Gabriel Santos fight when he was losing that one and he came out to get a knockout. It was really fun to see him get lit and celebrate because they really did go toe to toe in that one. Gabriel Santos is still a phenomenal fighter. The way he's shown in the cage, he's really good on the feet and good on the ground. It was just bad luck. That he lost those two fights. But we did see Onama miss weight in his last fight against Jonathan Pierce. I think he's gonna look better in this fight. That was back in April, so I definitely think he's taking time to get the diet under control. And this is a big card. You don't want to mess up your purse or nothing like that. That too, you're fighting in New York, and New York loves to tax, so he's definitely gonna want to make weight in this fight, most definitely. And like I said, he's a good striker. He has 7 wins via KO, 4 wins via submission. So he's really diverse fighter. He has one win. He has 1 win via decision. So really aggressive. Obviously, only 2 losses, and they are both by decision. Where he lost to Nate Landwehr and Mason the Dragon Jones. Mason Jones had a lot of hype coming out of Contender Series, not Contender Series. Cage Warriors. Pretty sure he's a double champion in Cage Warriors at one point. And yeah, like I said, I really do like David Onama's style. He's fighting Roberto Romero in this one. This dude's 8-3-1, 24 years old. His birthday's January 30th of the year 2000. So, fairly young dude, obviously. He's coming in here on a big card out of nowhere. The last time he fought was on July 27th, where he beat Takahiro Ashida, who's 26-14. He choked him out in the first round. So, hey, I'm pretty sure as a professional fighter like that he is, he's always training, always staying ready, which he was for this fight. And yeah, just like that. I can't really tell you. I forgot how many days notice he's taking. He's obviously it's relatively short notice because the fight's this week, but obviously he was staying ready.
It got announced yesterday. I'm almost positive. He might have known for longer, but it got announced yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. Because David Onama was supposed to fight Lucas Almeida on this card, and Lucas Almeida pulled out. That's what I was about to say. Yeah. So David Onama's already been training for this date. He's been prepared. Obviously, I think he might be low key, in my opinion, be the better fighter. I do think that he can come out here and get a victory in this one. I was going to go with David Onama, a really diverse fighter. Like I said, he can get it done on the feet and done on the ground. If I had to choose, I think he's going to get it done by KO in the second round. I think it's going to be a really good fight for the fans on this New York pay-per-view. And I think Roberto's going to come out here just really aggressive and just really try to make the most of his UFC debut. He could go out there and win and knock David out. Like I said, David's never been knocked out, and he does have 7 wins via KO. So I do think David can get his 8th win via KO in his career. And I'm going to go with Onama in this one by second round knockout.
So I didn't do any research on this one because it was literally 1 day's notice, and I just didn't feel like it. But listen, it's a short notice fight. We see this a lot when dudes come in here and they randomly look pretty good. We got a 24-year-old Mexican fighter. We know Mexicans are great and gritty fighters. Always are stand-up fighters, so they're gonna want to box. Like 100% of the time, the Mexican fighters are always boxing. I know this is almost like 97% of people think he's gonna win, and what's that, like 90% think it's gonna be by knockout. My prediction, since I don't have nothing, I'm gonna say this fight goes the distance.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I would say Onama's probably gonna win the one by decision. But I say Roberto's probably gonna put on. I mean, I'm guessing here, right? But I think he'll put on some like, oh shit, this 24-year-old kid is pretty good at fighting, and then he'll be like he'll get a real fight, after this. I don't think he just comes in here and gets knocked out. I don't think that's on his. I don't think he's taking a short notice fight to get knocked out. I don't think so. But we'll see.
Nah, most definitely. Yeah, I'm not trying to, be like a hot take kind of guy or anything like that. I just think David's gonna look good coming off this full camp. Even in the Jonathan Pierce fight, I thought he looked pretty good. Hopefully, he just has the weight under control in this one. And yeah, I'm just gonna go with David, most definitely. We both got David.
People thought Felipe Dos Santos was gonna get knocked out by Manuel Kyle.
Yeah, for sure.
And Felipe turned into like an all right. He was considered a good young prospect before he started losing his fights, but
Right.
people thought they were just gonna get knocked out. 'Cause it's like, who is this guy fighting on a week's notice?
Of course, nah, man, you're right. And like, yeah, like my boy Nicky said, he is a Mexican. We know how Mexicans have those rock solid chins, legendary chins. So, we'll see how this goes. Most definitely. Want to give a shout out to Eben for joining in the chat. Always love having you in here, Brad. Super active member of the channel, and always giving good insight. So always love having you in the chat, bro. Thank you so much for joining, Brad. And yeah, like, hey, I feel you on that question, man. Like I said, I really do hope that he makes it. I mean, he's been relatively consistent with making his weight. You feel me? I think he's fairly professional. I can see why you have those red flags, though. It's like, you did it last time, so you might do it again. You never know. You feel me? But yeah, moving on though to the next one. Got some
A10.
Yeah, like got some decent prelims coming up. Like, yeah, like these next 4, I really do enjoy. These next 3, I mean. But yeah, Jim Miller and Damon Jackson. You can have this one first. Go ahead, Nikki. No problem.
Shit, I'll tell you right now, I'm taking Jim Miller in this one.
Me too.
Jim's a super clean striker, dude. And I mean, I know he has all those submissions in his career, but it's like at the point, like he's at the end of his career and he just wants to knock people out. He just wants to put them out of consciousness. And I personally think, this is a weird take, but I think the Bobby Green matchup was stylistically bad because Bobby is just so like Jim's coming to just knock you out, just like give you clean left or right, and Bobby's just so weird. He talks like part of his fight style is that he talks shit to you and that his hands are completely down and he just throws a jab from his knees, like his fist comes from his knee up to your face, and it's just unorthodox. I called Bobby Green was going to win that fight and he destroyed Jim Miller. But like I threw that fight right out the window because that's not how most fights go. Most fights aren't like Bobby Green, because Bobby Green one night looks amazing and then he gets put out cold, or he gets his arm broken in a triangle. But yeah, I like Jim Miller in this one a lot. Like I said, clean striking, a lot of power and a submission threat. Jackson's good, but he's taken a lot. I mean, Jim Miller's taken damage too. I don't know how many times he's been knocked out, but it hasn't been that many. I looked, and it's been a long time since he has. But Damon has taken a good amount of damage too, and he fades out and fights a lot. Jim Miller had decent, like he was getting his ass beat. For someone with a bloody face, he still was, standing in front of Bobby Green in that fight. I trust everything down the line for Jim Miller in this fight. The striking, the from the ground, he's good. He got a bunch of guillotines and rear naked chokes. That's where most of his things are. He's not like a crazy BJJ guy, but he knows how to get his submissions. So I'm gonna take Jim Miller in this one.
Nah, man, I can see why you would pick him. Obviously Jim Miller's a legend. Some people think he should be a Hall of Famer for the accolades that he has in the
I
UFC.
think so. Because he's
Um,
on the knockout and the submission list, isn't he?
yeah, for it's like fights, like submissions, like
It's
it's
crazy.
crazy, like to have been here for that long. He's been here since like 2008. So like, man, 2008, I was like in third grade,
Crazy.
maybe. Yeah, like I was like 8, going on like 9. So yeah, like it was like it was like fourth grade maybe. Seriously, like
What
he's
was
you know,
I in? So,
because like yeah, like
I was in like first or second grade, dude. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, like because when you're in the fifth grade, you're like 10, because like sixth grade, you're 11, 12, 13, and 14, your freshman year in high school. So like damn, yeah, because that was like 2010. So yeah, I was like damn near like in the third grade when this man made his day.
He froze on us. Ah, man. He'll be back. It happens. It happens, guys. It happens. Gon, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the channel. How long you guys think he takes? 30 seconds? But man, yo, we could just go down Jim Miller's, down his page. He's saying he came into the UFC in 2008. That's crazy. And yeah, like I said, he hasn't been knocked out many times. He's been choked out by Nate Diaz. Donald Cerrone put him out. Antoine just texted me. He's coming back right now. It's just mostly been decision losses. Dan Hooker put him out. Charles subbed him. But, he's taken damage in the ring, but he hasn't been put out cold in the UFC much at all. So that's a good thing. So about Jim Miller, you got to think, man has been trying to keep himself together since 2008. That's good. Definitely some mileage. But before that Bobby Green fight, dudes were picking him. Dudes thought he was able to beat Bobby Green in that fight. I didn't personally. I liked Bobby Green in that fight. But people were confident in him. I mean, it's about the power. I mean, he likes to get stuff done quickly. He's connecting right now. Put him on. There we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, y'all. Thank you so much for waiting on me. Like I was saying, yeah, he's been here for a long time. Obviously, like we're all aware of his skill set. Yeah, it's great striking, great grappling. It's all really just a matter of his age and the wear and tear. Excuse me. He just had a lot of fights, man. So we're gonna see how fast he looks in this fight. Obviously he lost to Bobby Green that the last time around, but like Nick, he said it was kind of just a bad matchup for him. He has really good power in his hands, and we have seen Damon Jackson knocked out before. Damon Jackson is moving up from the featherweight division to the lightweight division in this matchup. So we'll see how well that works for his chin. But I do think that Miller still hits hard as hell. Like we saw what happened in the Jesse Butler fight. That was honestly like a really scary knockout. Like I was really like honestly praying for Butler after that. I'm not even joking, because like that was like just really bad, man. Like when he was stuck on the cage like that was really sad, bro. Like it's a brutal career, you feel me? And I think Jim Miller can replicate that success in this fight. And yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a pretty fun fight, honestly. I know like Jim Miller, I think it was Lyme's disease that he had, but he said he got it under control. So he has better cardio now more than ever, especially at this age. And if I had to pick, because I don't know if it's going to go to a decision, because I don't want Jim to gas out, you feel me? And I think Damon would look better over 3 rounds, maybe. So I'm gonna go with Miller by knockout, man. I think he can knock him out, bro. I do, bro. I honestly think he can knock him out, man. I do. I think they're gonna exchange on the feet. I think Damon's gonna try to get him to the ground, maybe like try to work some jujitsu. And Jim Miller's gonna be prepared for anything that Damon has in terms of the offensive grappling. And I think he can get the KO. Now I see why Evan would say that. You feel me? I'm just banking on the fact that like I think Jim is really good off his back, has really good sweeps. It has a lot of experience, most definitely. And I think he's able to like honestly adjust. Like I think round by round, and like I'd be surprised if he gets control, like like wrestle like that, like round by round, like without being able to make an adjustment or try to land a strike, or at least try to get a takedown of his own. Maybe try to grab a limb or get a leg, throw up a triangle, something like that. It's gonna be a pretty close fight, though. I do think so. We'll see how it goes, though. But yeah, did you make your pick already? Or no? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
Miller.
yeah. So all right, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Most definitely. And yeah, man, going into this next one, obviously got the hometown guy, the former UFC middleweight champion, one of the greatest middleweight fighters to ever put on a pair of UFC gloves. The legendary All-American Chris Weidman. Obviously this guy has, Chris. I think he has like 5 belts at home. One of the greatest middleweights we've ever seen in the octagon. Has wins over Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort. Unfortunately, that wasn't TRT Vitor. That would have been really fun to see. He knocked out. He was the man to knock out Anderson Silva in his streak. Of course, we like to ignore the leg break after. No one really likes to count that, not even Chris. And speaking of leg break, obviously we saw what happened to Chris Weidman at UFC 261, the infamous leg break when he was fighting Uriah Hall. I believe that was the pay-per-view opener. And then Anthony Smith fought Jimmy Crute after that, and he damaged his leg. And then Jimmy, so that card was just crazy. Like that was a crazy, like that was a classic pay-per-view. Not for those reasons, because that was the Masvidal and Usman card, and then Weili knocked out Joanna with it. I mean not Joanna. Rose knocked out Weili with the head kick. You feel me? And like that was just a crazy card. That was a beautiful card. And Chris Weidman's still fighting. A lot of people thought he'd be done at that card. He was able to get surgery, do the rehab, and now he's back.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm seeing like 5 eye pokes, and they got the old gloves. Oh my god, it's like straight jabs into the eyes in this one.
Yeah,
he got away with 3 in the last fight, dude.
Versus Bruno Silva. Felt really bad for Bruno Silva. Obviously, we just saw him lose his last fight. I don't think I saw him on the UFC roster watch get released or anything. So hopefully he's still on the roster. Hopefully they give him one more. He's still a fun fighter. He was crying after losing the last fight. He's lost a sharp bullet. I guess he just knew he didn't fight the best he could in that matchup, and I felt really bad for Bruno Silva. And yeah, Chris Weidman. In terms of his skill set, obviously he's older, but he's still able to wrestle. Has decent boxing. He will come through and try to strike, but really likes to try to clench up, try to still get the fight to the ground. Use his bread and butter, even at this later stage in his career. And yeah, he's fighting Eric Anders. He used to play for the University of Alabama. Roll Tide for any of y'all that are fans of Alabama out there. I'm from Georgia, so go Dogs. You feel me? And yeah, so Eric Anders, I think Eric coming into this fight might have the edge athleticism-wise, most definitely just having the youth on his side. I think he'll be in like a little bit better shape than Weidman. I think he has a slight bigger frame than Weidman. And I just think in terms of who's going to be hungrier, I mean, that's kind of hard to say, man. I think Chris is going to give it his all fighting at home in front of his friends and family. I'm honestly here to see what happens by agent dude. It's so funny. Want to give a shout out to Lost Soul MMA. I've seen your channel before, bro. You have great content, man. Keep up the great work, bro. Obviously you posting consistent content, bro. Definitely just keep it up, man, for sure. And thank you for joining us, most definitely, bro. Absolutely, for sure. And yeah, man, so Eric Anders, bro, I mean, again, we obviously saw what happened when he fought Khalil Roundtree, so we know that he did have kind of a striking discrepancy in his the early portion of his career. He has improved in his last few matchups, but Anders hasn't really been that consistent himself in his last few fights. I mean, take this fight for what you will. Shout out to Bismarck MMA. You feel me? We got a Eric Anders fan in the chats. Always good to see the fighters getting respect. The respect
they
deserve.
Vettori sucks, bro. Why is he like that, dude?
Yeah, because he wore shorts backwards. That was
they're back. Yo, that picture's always bothered me, and I never knew why until you just said that.
Really? Yeah, he wore his shorts backwards. I think that was the UFC 263 fight week. When he lost
the Italian name, man. It's a shame.
Yeah. You're crazy for that. No, that's hilarious. I'm playing. But yeah, not gonna spend too much longer on this one. I mean, man, like Honors is the favorite -170. Chris is 40 years old, man, and Eric's 37. Chris has the reach advantage. He's a little bit taller. I mean, I think Chris still has a good camp. He's still training with Chris. He's still training with Ray Longo, Matt Serra. You feel me? They still have a really good camp up there. He moved to Carolina, where he's really close with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But I think obviously he's gonna swing by Longo and Weidman. Definitely get some extra training done. I'm dead. That's crazy. Yeah.
So did you know? I don't know if he's married to Wonderboy's sister or Wonderboy's married to his sister, but it's one or the other. I didn't know that, and they've been cool for a long time.
Yeah, nah. Oh yeah. Like most definitely. Yeah, like Wonderboy. It was pretty cool to see that kind of connection take place. And yeah, like they've been training together for a little bit too. So that might have even done like a little bit for Chris's striking in this one. But yeah, like we'll see how it goes though, most definitely. But yeah, who you picking in this fight?
So I'm taking Weidman in this fight. I think he'll pull out a decision. Anders, he's like a counter striker, but he just like fades out in fights. And this is not the opponent you want to fade out against. Someone who's going to notice that. Weidman, like his striking is pretty good. It's always been pretty good. He has some power in his punches. Nothing crazy, nothing outstanding on the feet. But like the outstanding part of his game is the wrestling, and he hasn't been wrestling too much. But if he even tried to, I think he would completely dominate this fight. Take it to an easy decision win. I personally think Weidman has the advantage in most aspects in this fight, even at the age 40. My MMA coach, he like tells stories about Chris Weidman. He loves to bring up Chris Weidman, how he trained over there with him. And this was before Weidman was the champion. He was just so humbled by how like different level Chris Weidman was back in the day. And it's crazy, like, hearing that, like, when I go to the gym to work out, hearing stories about how my coach was training with Weidman before he was the champion, before he was known. So you never know who that next UFC champion is in the gym with you. So it's just crazy hearing that. But for this fight, even at, 40 years old, with the injuries and all that, I'm going to take Weidman to win this one by a decision. His hometown, that crowd's going to be roaring for him. He could fight this fight 15 minutes laying on top of you like Magomed Ankalaev, and that crowd will roar for him every time he throws down one punch. So I take Weidman in this one.
Yeah, I was going to pick him for some of the reasons that I listed earlier. I really like the gym that he comes from. Obviously, you've seen like their slew of world champions that they have had throughout the history of Longo and Weidman. Well, of course, formerly Serra Longo. And yeah, I was going to go with Chris Weidman as well. I think he'll be able to use the wrestling to get the fight to the ground. I still think like he has that motivation to fight. Obviously, like after breaking his leg, like a lot of people would have retired after that. So it's cool to see him come back and try to persevere through that. And yeah, like he's fighting in New York. He's from New York. Like when Bruce Buffer says out of Long Island, and like he gets that pop. I think that's gonna just sway the judges to slipe it. And we're gonna see what happens.
Great team in his corner, yo. Every round you go back to a great team. We're big Ray Longo fans over here, but you got Long. I don't know if Serra is going to be in the corner. I don't often see him in the corners. It's usually Aljo Ray. One other guy, I don't really know who he is. But yeah, I never see Serra. It'd be interesting to see if Serra was in the corner in that fight. Persuade him to use a little jiu-jitsu. But I want to see Chris Weidman on the ground. He hasn't been trying to wrestle in his past few fights, and I thought he would. Even against Bruno Silva or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hopefully he can just really keep the eye pokes under control this time around. All jokes
TKO is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Like, hey, all jokes aside, I think he's going to be way better about that. Obviously, we found out the news earlier today that they're not going to use the new gloves. They're going back to the old gloves for this card. So we're going to see how that works in this fight in particular. But yeah, moving on up the pay-per-view. Want to appreciate all y'all again for joining us on this pay-per-view breakdown. Most definitely Ty Bets, Eagle MMA, Magic 7, Bismarck MMA. Really appreciate y'all for joining us, like giving good insight in the chat. And again, like really appreciate y'all taking the time out to definitely watch us and show some love, most definitely. Want to give a shout out to Ernie in the chat as well. Pick Women's MMA. He was here on our last breakdown. Like he's a really, really, really cool dude, most definitely. And yeah, and like and like we're to Eagle MMA, most definitely. Y'all like the stream, really appreciate that from y'all. Would really appreciate that if y'all can like the stream, trying to get the views up, get monetized, stuff like that. So really appreciate all y'all again, most definitely. And yeah, this fight's pretty crazy. You can have this one first though, Nikki. Go ahead.
This one's interesting. I was very surprised that McGee is. I'm surprised and not at the same time that McGee's the favorite in this one, just because like Jonathan Martinez is an established fighter, and it's interesting. He's fought a lot better competition. The Yanez fight, that was a good one. I mean, the fight with Aldo, I know it went the way it did, but just the competition he's fought, the experience he fought. I get it. It's very close odds though, so it's not something I'm gonna go crazy over and nitpick. McGee has way more hype going into this fight. He trains with Sean O'Malley. That says a lot. Anyone comes out of that gym and wins a fight in the UFC, they're gonna have a lot of hype around their name.
Yeah.
McGee has a lot of power in his hands. He's a great mixed martial artist too. He's good everywhere. But hands down, this is his hardest matchup. Jonathan Martinez has taken a lot of damage in fights, but he takes that damage. He eats a lot of it, Great kicks. He's got some nasty Muay Thai. It's hard. I want to pick Jonathan Martinez in this one to win by a decision. I think McGee is really good at controlling distance. He's good at getting in, out. Just like Sean O'Malley, in and out, in and out. When Sean O'Malley, besides the Marav fight, Sean O'Malley's always been good at being in and out. I think that's something they drill hard over there, and McGee's very good at that. If Jonathan Martinez can figure that out, take a round, lose a round to win the next two. If he loses that first round just to figure out McGee how to guard that in and out game plan, I think Martinez could win this one by a decision, honestly. Just because I think the biggest thing for McGee is that his footwork is so good, his evasiveness, and if Martinez could turn that off in this fight, then you have to see something from Marcus that we haven't seen yet. I don't think Marcus is going to come out here and just knock him out. I think that would be a lazy pick to say for someone like Martinez who could eat, the way he did. I mean, he lasted 3 rounds with Jose, and Jose was hitting him with combos. How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, man, we're gonna agree on this one as well. And yeah, appreciate you, bro. Also, yeah, Illumi was right. Illumi in the chat, I did forget to say Lost Soul. The names were going up on the thing, so yeah, again, shout out to Lost Soul too for also sliding through, most definitely, and FM as well. Man, he has some funny comments in the chat, bro. So again, thank y'all so much for joining us again, and God bless all you boys for real. Whatever y'all are going through, most definitely. And yeah, for my opinion on this fight, yeah, man, I was gonna go with Marcus McGee as well. I know he's older. I know everyone's cracking jokes that he's older and stuff like that, but I think obviously he doesn't have that many fights, and I think that's gonna pay really good dividends for his career, at least moving forward. At his age, I think he'll still really show that athleticism because he hasn't taken that much damage. I think he's looked really athletic in his fights. I think he's super strong, pretty quick for his age. He's making the weight pretty good at 34. I mean, I don't got a spy in his camp or nothing like that to see how he's making the weight. But he's made it thus far, and he's looking really good in his fights. He has good power, good distance management. Like Nikki said, obviously with Jonathan Martinez, for any of y'all are picking him, he has phenomenal leg kicks, really good distance management himself. I think he just froze up a little bit in front of Aldo when he fought him. Who doesn't nowadays? And you're fighting, a living legend like that. And yeah, he has fairly decent boxing himself. If I had to say who has the better hands, I think McGee has the better hands, but Martinez for sure has the better kicks, you could say. This is a really, really close fight. Ernie said it himself. Well, pick him. Women MMA said it, themselves. Yeah, obviously, this is a pretty crazy fight. In my opinion, it's probably the best prelim. I'm really excited for this one. I think it's going to be really dynamic, really fast on both sides. And yeah, man, I think it's going to be pretty exciting. But yeah, I was going to go with McKee in this one. Obviously, a lot of people are picking Martinez, as they should. I think he's fought the better competition, you could say, especially with Aldo in his last fight. But me personally, I've been waiting for Marcus McKee to get that step up, and like I told myself I'd pick him when he does, and like this is finally it. So we're gonna see how this goes, man. Like I was gonna go with Marcus most definitely. And yeah, bro, like Ty saying the same thing that we are. Like, yeah, man, I honestly think he could still go far, bro. Like, I'm always telling my friends on other channels and stuff like that. Even Pick'em MMA's chat. Of course, you already know Nick. Shout out to Nick, most definitely. I'm always in this chat talking about because like there's a lot of older fighters in the UFC now more than ever. Like we just saw the 35-year-old Jasmine Jastovicius on that Edmonton card. And she looked good. Of course, that was Ariane De Silva, and a lot of y'all might not be high on her. But I still think that Marcus McKee, like I think that again, like I say, he doesn't have that many fights and stuff like that. So I do think that like the lack of damage can help him at least extend for what would have been like, his mid-30s, like late 30s and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But you got any last thoughts on it, or are you good?
That's it. I see what you're saying, Ty, but I don't see McGee at all staying in the pocket and trying to slug with Martinez because, like even just said, he'll get his legs chopped off. Like literally, his legs will get chopped off if you try and stand there in front of Martinez. His last fight ended in an early knockout, if I recall. But yeah, from what I was watching some tape, like he knows how to manage distance really well, McGee. But yeah, I agree. He is an aggressive brawler. But yeah, that's it for this fight. I'm looking forward to this fight. This is definitely the highest level prelim fight there is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a prelim or is this a? Yeah, this is the last prelim, right? This is the featured prelim.
I believe so.
Yeah, because now we move
Yeah,
on to the main
yeah, it
card
is. So, most definitely. Absolutely, for sure.
UFC knows how to line up a fucking card. I'll tell you.
Yeah, nah, man. Like, see, it's funny you say that. A lot of people feel like out of all the New York cards we've had recently, this is one of the weaker ones. But I do think this whole pay-per-view, like the pay-per-view main card itself, honestly has really, really good fights on it. It's cool when you can just sit back at 10 p.m. or 7 p.m. for y'all on the West Coast and just sit back and just like, crack a beer and, spark a little, you feel me, whatever you got, and just sit back and just enjoy all 5 fights. I really do enjoy that. That's one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, we only get one Saturday out of these a month. Sometimes we get 2 Saturdays, like last month. UFC 307 was on October 5th. That was Pereira versus Roundtree. And then we had Max versus Toportia. That was on October 26th. So sometimes we get 2 pay-per-views a month, but you only get 1 New York card. So again, I appreciate y'all for joining us again for this pay-per-view. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to the homies in the chat as well. Y'all see each other in the chat, so y'all should go ahead and subscribe to each other as well. Ty Bats, Bismarck MMA, Lost Soul MMA, Eben, you feel me, FM. Anyone who has a channel, y'all should go ahead and show love. Most definitely, like Eagle MMA, Ty, Eben, like I said, you feel me, all these boys, Lost Soul. And again, thank y'all so much for joining us again, bro, for this pay-per-view. And yeah, man, we can go ahead and get started with this first one. I actually won't take too long on it. You feel me?
It's gonna be a quick one. Yeah, I got a better question. Before we do this, rank the fighting nerds for you. 1 through 4, rank them.
For me,
just your favorite. Doesn't have to be skill wise. Just your favorite.
I like. For number 1, I like Gene Silva a lot. I really want to see what he can do at the featherweight division. I really thought Mobstar Evilwell was going to give him a chance when he called him out on social media like that. I think he said his hands were broken and he had to, just wait, for them to recover and stuff like that. So he wasn't able to step up. The second one, I do like Kyle Bahayo. I just like his style a lot. I like his personality. You feel me? I like his story too. He's a family man. I respect that a lot. You feel me? I like his personality. Like I said, his fighting style too. And when he fought Jared Cannonier, he could have just went for takedowns the whole time. He went toe to toe just to try to prove a point. And we obviously saw the infamous 5th round with Jared Cannonier when he drops him like that, and we saw the blood just like fly from Jared's nose and stuff like that. And yeah, like that probably be number 2. I'll take Carlos Prates for number 3. I just don't want to have like recency bias. I know like Mauricio's still making his name, but like but if number 1's definitely still Gene Silva. I really do like him a lot. Obviously, we just saw what Carlos Prates did to Neil Magny. I hope he gets the Jack Della Maddalena fight. I do think they should let him get that in Australia. It's a perfect comeback fight for Jack Della Maddalena coming off his arm surgery when he broke his arm when he fought Gilbert Burns. And I do think, on paper, obviously, like that would be 4 versus number 13. So I think that'd be good for Jack Della Maddalena to come out and get a bounce back fight, So I will look forward to that most definitely. And nah, for sure. Yeah, there's some people picking them most definitely. Like these dudes be having chins. Like all these people from Latin America, they have chins. Like all these people got chins. You can be like Mexicans, Peruvians, Argentinians. Like they all be having chins. And yeah, for me in this one, I was gonna go with Mauricio Rufy. In his debut, he in my opinion, because when they started saying it on the broadcast and my friends texted it in the group chat, both those things being that he looked like Conor, like the way he was just out there, like assessing the distance.
He did.
It was like his posture, like he was just really slick and smooth, like even his build, like with his shoulders and stuff. He was really looking like McGregor, bro, and that's no hype shit. Like no hype shit. I'm even cursing because that's he really was dead ass looking like Conor McGregor in his stance and his posture at least, and how he was timing the shots, like picking the shots and just really, really fast. And yeah, like me a layup for Rufy. Yeah, I mean, I think they really just want to put this guy on the map. Obviously, when they have pay-per-views, you all know this being hardcores, of course. When it comes to pay-per-views, they like to start it off with a really, really exciting fight. Sometimes they'll even make it a layup, like the boy Bismarck here literally just said. They'll literally do that just to give the fans that just sat down at 10 o'clock that night something to really get lit for. Oh man, starting the card off right, this and that. So yeah, I think that's really how it's gonna go. I think Rufy's gonna knock him out in the first round. I think Jon Top's gonna really come out, give it his all. Really just try to be aggressive, you feel me? But I think Mauricio's going to pick his shots super early, and I think he's going to gain the respect early. I said first round KO, I'll take second. I think I think it'll be more surgical than that. I think he'll take the time to assess the distance more, especially coming from the camp that he does train with. And just and really how he looked in his debut, I think he'll just be a little bit more technical with it. Just try to break him down and really just take him out. And yeah, FM's giving some good takes in the chat. He's saying Rufy might be like the new Michel Pereira. He definitely has the good striking like Michel and the power. Pretty sure he has good grappling too. I'd be shocked if he didn't. They're called the fighting nerds for a reason, most definitely. When that's what you do for a living, that's all you have yourself to invest yourself in. And then that's how you're feeding your family and they're watching hella film and stuff like that. And they really do have crazy momentum. It was just it wasn't a joke at first because obviously they're real fighters, but they've really gained the respect in a calendar year. And that's just super impressive to see. And yeah, we're going to see how this goes. They got 2 guys in the rankings now. We'll see how it's cool because they're all in different divisions.
Classes, yeah.
Yeah, so they're never going to fight each other. And that's just super cool, bro. So you really get to see how far they're all going to go in their own stories and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how this is going to go. Obviously, they're trying to put this guy on the map. He won't get a ranked opponent after this one. Just another big fight probably. And he might get a ranked opponent if he kills him in the first. If he kills him in the Lord, please forgive me. If he beats him in the first round and devastating.
If he Neil Magny's him, right?
In devastating fashion. I think that he might get a ranked opponent. We'll see. You feel me? But yeah, I got Mauricio Rufy. How you feeling?
I also got Mauricio Rufy in this one. Dude, he's just super elite on the feet. He's accurate. He just stays in front of you and just keeps going. It's just amazing. He could just punch you all fucking day and kick you. It's just amazing. Lintop, he's going to try and stay in front of him. He's going to try his best. Obviously, that's what you do. Signed up for this. You want to win this fight, but it's a tough fight. You're not. I don't see him coming in here at all. I see Rufy getting this one done probably in the first. Just knocking him out. Like you said, very technical. I think Rufy has the chance to. Now, I don't want to like tear down the other three as I say this, but I think he'll probably be the best fighting nerd. As in, he'll probably climb the highest in the division. I could see him as the future of the lightweights, like when Islam's retired and Charles is retired, Dustin, Gaethje all retire, Beneil retire, and it's that next generation with Armin, Paddy, and all these guys. Paddy's crazy jump from Armin, but you know what I mean. Gamrot, all these dudes. I think he has a great chance to slip in there because at welterweight and featherweight, there's a lot of people there. Middleweight, Kaio, I could definitely see. I mean, Kaio is very close to where he needs to be to get a championship fight. But Rufy, I really like Rufy a lot. I think he could make a great run in 3 years. I could see him at the top of the division for sure.
Okay. Hey, I see why you would say that. They're all really talented. We're gonna see how it goes, man. Most definitely. And yeah, moving on to the next one. Really hope this does end in a KO though. I really hope they fast track him. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And yeah, we have a female fight on the pay-per-view. Of course, it's a good one though. In my opinion, we won't really spend too much long on this one either. I'm really high on Karine Silva. I know I said kill in the last breakdown or whatever, but obviously this girl is like literally a killer. Has a fantastic finishing rate. Extremely aggressive fighter, whether it's with the striking or the grappling. I'm just really high on her. You feel me? I thought she was really mature when she came in, and I just think she's finally getting the opportunities. Like they're putting her on this card. You feel me? She's 18-4. She's 30 years old in her prime. You feel me? And I just think she's a really good fighter. She only has 1 win via decision, 8 via KO, 9 via sub. So really, really aggressive fighter. She's 4-0 inside the UFC, so she is undefeated inside the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And yeah, I just think she's gonna look really good in this one. She's been killing. Damn, she's been just destroying girls. Before she got here, she's just looked great. She's looked awesome. You feel me? And yeah, I'm just really happy to see her back. They're giving her Viviane Araujo. I feel like they know what they're doing, obviously, in this card, in this fight in particular. Vivi's been up and down in her last few fights. Of course, she's been here for a while, but she's 37 now. In the flyweight division, so that's pretty up there, especially for the female weight classes. And I think Karine's in her prime, and I just think it's going to be a pretty easy pick in my opinion. Of course, some people are going to be picking Araujo, the experience. She's fought good competition. She has more fights inside the UFC, but I got the potential and the upside of Karine Silva. So, and I'll go by second round submission by Karine Silva.
This fight, I personally think it's a little high on the card. As the feature bout, I don't see why. I could pick 2 fights that would be better feature bouts, in my opinion. It's the feature bout, no?
Oh, I thought.
No, Bo Nickel and Craig.
Paul Craig, yeah. I was about to say. I was like, don't tell me he fell out. I was about to say, yeah.
I still main card. I don't know. Maybe we could push this to the prelims, but I mean, Vivi's a good wrestler, good boxer, bad cardio. That's like Silva. Very physical. Should be able to outmuscle her for 3 rounds, ride out a decision. That's like all I really have for this. So I'm not too hyped for this one. Silva definitely can get the sub in this one, but I'm just going to take her probably to win this one in a 3-round decision. It's like she's super tough. That's it for me, honestly, on this one.
Most definitely. All right, bet. Moving on to the feature bout of the evening.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot this was the feature. I completely forgot this fight was on the card.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So obviously this is just another chapter in the story that is Bo Nickel's UFC journey. We're going to see what happens in this one. Obviously they're giving him the grappler this time around. They gave him the wrestler in Cody Brundage, but this time around it's still the pure jiu-jitsu artist with Paul Craig. we're gonna see how Bo approaches this. Is he gonna just shoot straight into the fire and try to prove a point, like try to just blast through his jiu-jitsu, get a ground and pound victory, or anything like that? You feel me? But yeah, man, obviously Bo Nickel, like, yeah, some of the best wrestling we've ever seen. For a fighter of like his age and like, a prospect basically, like he's definitely looked really good so far. Definitely already one of the best wrestlers in the middleweight division. Obviously, he's called out guys like Chimaev. I would love to see them wrestle one day. That would just be absolutely insane. That'd be crazy to see them grapple. When hopefully that that's a title fight. In 2027, something like that. You never know. But yeah, I feel like I don't really have to spend too much time on this one. I think Bo Nickel has all the potential in the world right now. I think Paul Craig. He's at middleweight. He used to be a 205er, so he is sacrificing more weight to extend his UFC career. But we do know his chin is fairly dusty. He has been knocked out, here and there, most definitely. And yeah, I mean, Bo Nickel's a minus 1,000 favorite, man. So, I mean, of course, anything can happen in a fight. We've seen Paul Craig get massive victories. He submitted Magomed Ankalaev and Jamal Hill. So it wouldn't be too surprising to see him get another crazy prospect that goes on to be a champion in the future in Bo Nickel. It'd be crazy if he submitted Bo with a triangle. But I mean, yeah, I don't think Bo's gonna play with this one. I'm actually gonna go Bo by knockout in this fight. I think he's gonna try to keep it on the feet. He's been working on his boxing. He's a smart guy. I don't think he's a one-dimensional dude that just tries to wrestle the whole time. He knows he's a good wrestler already. So I'm pretty sure he wants to really sharpen his hands most of the time nowadays. And hey, you expend less energy when you're throwing punches. So I do think he'll come out and try to get a knockout in this one. And yeah, I think first round, like, I don't be disrespectful or nothing like that. Because I mean, like, yeah, Bo Nickel knocked out Val Woodburn, but like Paul Craig's, he's fought a lot of good guys, I just think Bo's gonna be super aggressive in the first round. I'm gonna go with second round TKO. I think they're gonna be striking on the feet. Paul's gonna try to get the fight to the ground. Bo's gonna stuff it, really not play any games with the grappling at all. Paul might gas out trying to get the fight to the ground. When the jiu-jitsu guys, like, they're on their back and stuff like that. I think he might try to get up. And I think Bo's just gonna continue to strike with him and try to get the KO in the second round. And yeah, I think Bo has good anti-wrestling to nullify the jiu-jitsu. We've seen very, very, very fast transitions from him on the ground before with the jiu-jitsu. So he's not some fish out of water when it hits the ground. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. But I got Bo Nickel by second round knockout, most definitely.
This is gonna be an interesting fight. Paul Craig isn't that great of a striker, but he's good at managing his distance. I think that was a big reason he came down from light heavyweight to be a longer middleweight. Even though Bo's like a freak of nature, he matches him here at middleweight. Bo's obviously has the advantage on the feet, but my thing is it all depends on game plan, right? Like anyone could come into any fight with a great game plan and win. And my opinion for Paul Craig, if he wanted to win this fight, is he has to bait Bo Nickel to the ground. Not take him down, but he has to bait him to the ground. He has to stay on the outside, use his kicks and his jabs to just stall on the feet a little bit. And Bo Nickel be like, okay, this isn't going how I want it on the feet. Let me shoot on him because he's being lazy. And then you jump a triangle or an armbar or whatever, work it like that. Listen, at the odds this fight's at, everyone could just pick Bo Nickel all you want, but styles makes fights. Like, we know that. And Bo has the wrestling advantage, and he has the striking, that power advantage, but he does not have the grappling advantage, in my opinion. Paul Craig is elite at one thing, and it's jiu-jitsu. And that's that little thing that goes in between wrestling and striking. Listen, I'm not saying that Paul Craig is going to win this fight. Paul Craig by submission sounds really intriguing in this one. Bo Nickel could drill all the jiu-jitsu he wants from International Fight Week to now. You're not half of the jiu-jitsu fighter that Paul Craig is because of the experience he has in it. if he tries to wrestle Paul Craig, which is Bo Nickal's biggest feat, he's putting himself in danger at every single second. I mean, from side control, he could get a Kimura, anything. I mean, Paul Craig is very tricky. I'm just gonna say I'm taking Paul Craig in this fight for a submission. I'm not sure it's gonna happen. I wouldn't suggest putting your money on it. I would not throw it on your parlays, but I like it. I really could see it happening. Like, I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. I could see Paul Craig submitting Bo Nickal in this one.
Oh wait, who'd you pick?
I'm saying I could see Paul Craig winning this one by submission.
Oh no, I'm not trying you. I was looking at my phone for a second.
No, that's fine. I'm genuinely saying it though. I could see it happening. Listen, I think Bo Nickal's really good, but if he can't get that knockout, it's gonna be a tough fight. He's not gonna just be able to wrestle Paul Craig. I mean, he's a better wrestler, don't get me wrong, but the submissions that he throws up, it could change the fight. You know what I mean? Could lose great position and lose a round like that. You know,
So you're picking Paul Craig.
I'm picking Paul Craig in this one.
Okay.
It's not just me like saying
I just wanted to be.
No, it's not just me saying it to say it. I genuinely think he could do it. I think he could submit Bo Nickal.
Oh man.
I don't think Bo Nickal's invincible, bro. And that's a lot of people think that means you're invincible, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Cody Brundage was throwing him right off too on a few of those takedowns. I know he got it done quick still, but in hindsight, but Cody Brundage isn't that, you know. Squat him. Listen, it's game plan. You know, Paul Craig's not he's not number one contender. He's not a champion. He's trying to make his way in life. He's trying to earn pay. Both these dudes want to, Bo Nickal's set. He doesn't have to worry about money. Paul Craig probably wants a paycheck. You know, I think he needs it more. Bo Nickal's fighting to keep his, his O. But Paul Craig needs the money. He wants that shit more.
I do agree. When you say Bo Nickal is set, I do think they are paying Bo a lot. He was a big signing. I think it took a lot to get him. Not like too much. He ain't getting like 800 show, 800 win, nothing like that. But I do think he's getting like a hefty amount, maybe like 200, something like that, 300, like, because like, and they finally got him on the roster for a while, and if they're gonna take as long as they need to, because they want him to be on pay-per-views come like 2028, 2027. He's on pay-per-views now. But like, you get what I mean, like fighting in the main event and stuff like that. So it's gonna be cool just to see his rise throughout the next years. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, hey, he might suffer a setback here. You never know. So we're gonna see what happens though, most definitely. Got some breakdowns in the chat for y'all that want to check them out. But yeah, man, moving on to the co-main event. So yeah, man, obviously like this fight is 5 rounds. That only means one thing and one thing only, that this is a number 1 contender fight. Dana did come out and say that the winner of this will fight the winner of Islam versus Arman. So it is cool to see that Chandler could get another title shot, man. That's pretty crazy to think about. Even talking about this fight, obviously we already know who both these dudes are. Really big fans of both, most definitely. I think with Chandler, obviously, we saw he did not get the Conor McGregor fight. It was super unfortunate for Michael. They did a whole season of The Ultimate Fighter, and he was never able to get that infamous red panty night. At least in that time, he was able to take time off. Him and his wife did adopt another child, so congratulations to them. They have another piece of their family. And yeah, the way Evan's repping this boy in the chat. Michael Chandler, obviously his skill set, he's a really, really, really strong wrestler. One of the best wrestlers in the lightweight division, even at his age. He has some crazy power in his hands. Extremely aggressive in 3-round fights, a little more technical in 5-round fights. But he will still put the pedal to the metal in the first round, because he knows that's when he's at his absolute best. And for me, it's really more so about his approach in this fight. Obviously, we saw how the first fight went. He almost won the first fight. I feel like a lot of people tried to take that away from him. He was this close to being the champion. A lot of people thought, once it hits the ground, he's going to get submitted, this and that. He actually reversed Charles, got on top, and started laying down ground and pound. And he looked really, 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 really good. Like he had, he kind of had Charles tired, and then he let him get back to his feet, stuff like that. And it was just a pretty crazy fight. Obviously. I just think Chandler kind of like he kind of gassed himself out when that second round came, man. Like he came to the center of the cage, and I think he really had that like adrenaline dump, unfortunately. And we saw Charles was still ready to go, and he hit him with a good precise left hook that made him a future Hall of Famer. And yeah, man, like, but just looking at that fight, obviously that was some years ago, UFC 262. That was a while ago, most definitely. In Houston, Texas, it was. And I only mentioned how long ago it was because obviously Chandler's coming off a layoff. I mean, obviously he fought after that, this and that. But at 38 years old, I really wonder how it's going to really affect Michael Chandler. He keeps himself in great shape, so you could definitely, well, he would say he's still in his prime. He definitely felt good according to his media day, so he has no plan of retiring anytime soon. Especially when he knows he's on the verge of a title shot, and I think he loves being a UFC fighter. He loves being a professional athlete. You can tell he really takes it in pride, most definitely. And yeah, you can break down Charles. I know I broke down Chandler, but yeah, great power from Chandler, phenomenal wrestling. A lot of the fights he lost, he could have won. Like, when he was fighting Dustin, like he was aggressive in the first round. He kind of got tired near the end of the first. When he came out in the second round, got a takedown. You feel me? Like seriously, and like I agree with FM here. Like honestly, I truly do. You feel me? Not like not giving my pick or nothing like that. I just think that like it's the entertaining part. I think like there has been times where he has shown the fight IQ. Like I was about to mention when he took Dustin to the ground in their fight in the second round, he was able to control Poirier, and that was in the second round after a crazy first round. So I do think that like his gas tank isn't that bad. I think it's really more so the mindset of Michael Chandler. I think he's able to power through when he's tired like that. And yeah, obviously, like that also occurred in the second round. It did with the fish hook. And
Blowing
like
his nose.
yeah, with blood. Like obviously, like in the full mount. So not in the full mount. He was on top of him, and then he had nose coming out. And it was getting in Dustin's eyes and stuff like that. Like he was bleeding and stuff. And just a really crazy fight, Hall of Fame worthy fight in my opinion. On the New York card 2 years ago, we actually discussed that at the beginning of this breakdown. But yeah, man. So you can break down Charles. That's really it about Michael. He's coming off a layoff. Hopefully, the layoff was good for him. He was having a lot of fights in between that time. The win over Dan Hooker looks great now. Seeing what Dan Hooker did to Gamrot, like the last fight. And Chandler knocked him out in the first round, made it look super easy. I mean, super easy. Really showed his level in that fight. He slipped down to the number 7 ranked guy, but that's due to inactivity. But that's it, though. We'll see how the layoff affected Chandler. But you can have Charles. Go ahead, bro. Most stuff.
Yeah, Charles, interesting person. He's one of the most fan favorite fighters in the UFC for sure. Has one of the biggest fan bases. When you think of Brazil, UFC history, he's going to be in there. Listen, he had one of the best primes. People talk about it. People will talk about it forever. They love that prime when he beat Michael Chandler and won that belt, and he defended it against, Gaethje with the whole belt thing, but he defended it against Dustin Poirier too. People loved him. He turned his whole career around. He was considered a quitter. He gave up in fights mentally, and he changed that around. And he came up to lightweight, and he won a lot of fights, and he beat a lot of people, and he's fought a lot in his career. And lost his belt to Islam, came back. He had that Armin fight. Oh, actually, before that, he had the Beneil Dariush fight. Packed him up. He looked great in that fight. He knocked him out. He didn't get punched. he was in that guard. He didn't get punched once. I remember that was an amazing night. That Armin fight. Listen, I was rewatching it the other day. That fight really should have ended in the first round if it wasn't for Armin short slipping off. That was a deep guillotine, and Armin's face was red. I mean, he had to be on the brink of going out, and them shorts started slipping, and he felt that leg grip moving down with his hands, and he was able to survive that. And Charles had another submission in that fight, but Armin's a lot like Chandler, but Chandler's just wild. Armin's very disciplined, but I see them very similar. And a lot of people say that too. Chandler and Armin are very similar. And Chandler keeps talking about he's this new fighter and these 2 years off have changed him a lot. personally, I don't, at his age, I don't know if you just turn your career around and change your fight style. I think when the adrenaline hits you and you're in that cage, everything goes out the window for someone like him, and he just fights the way he best knows how to. Um, but man, Charles is a killer, bro. Great, great knockout power. He's put out many people. Amazing submissions, probably some of the best in the game, if not of all time. He's just like his Muay Thai and his Jiu-Jitsu and the way he mixes them. It's honestly just beautiful to watch him fight. That's why people like watching Charles fight so much now, is that the way he's a mixed martial artist at heart. It's just enjoyable to watch him fight. He doesn't put on boring fights. To get into my pick, I think Charles is going to win this one by submission. I haven't really picked a round. It really depends how the fight goes. If Chandler's really disciplined, the sub pushes later, like maybe second or third. But if Chandler's the same old Chandler we know, I mean, the fight probably goes like the first one. I mean, Chandler probably beats him on the feet. And the cardio is just going to go away. It doesn't, I mean, he's in great shape, but he's always been in great shape. That's not the thing for him. It's about how much he does. I mean, when he fought Dustin Poirier, he didn't just go for a takedown. He was picking him up and slamming him and over and over. Everything he does is a 1,000,000%, he just does too much to himself. He kills himself mentally and physically in fights. That's the problem. Dustin Poirier, he had Dustin Poirier in a submission and lost it, and Charles submitted him, and that was his last fight. Or I'm sorry, I don't know what I said something about Charles. Chandler had a submission on Dustin, lost it, and Dustin subs him in Chandler's most recent fight. So if you're getting subbed by Dustin, I promise you, your next fight you're getting submitted by Charles Oliveira. Give me Charles Oliveira by submission in this one. I'll take it in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, man.
Bronx.
I mean, yeah, man. Like, it's a fun fight, obviously. Like I said, man, Chandler was winning the first one, man, and like Charles has taken some damage since that fight. He's won some fights, obviously. He lost to Makhachev, but we did see him lose to Sarukian. But he did knock out Dariush. So, man, it really just honestly depends. Like, it's like, let me ask you, like, do you think Chandler and like, because this is fuck, man, because I keep forgetting this shit's 5 rounds, bro.
It's not going 5 rounds. It's too much. It's 2 killers in the cage together.
I was gonna ask you though, like, do you think he could control him though? Like, if he really tried, like, can Michael control Charles?
Charles will find his way to his guard. You don't get 5 minutes of just sitting in his mount. Charles will work his way to his guard.
Like, he's done it before, man. Like, he's done, and that's like having a rear naked choke. Like, seriously, man.
That wasn't for like a whole round. I mean, what, he gets 2 minutes of control time? Like, how much damage is he gonna inflict with it?
I'm just thinking, like, who's the more physically stronger dude? Like, it's Chandler.
Chandler's the physically stronger, but Charles is by far more skilled. By far more skilled than him.
Because he's hurt him on the feet before, man. Like, he's had, like, it's just
Charles knocked him out,
He did, like, I mean, like, but he almost knocked him out, man. And like, that's what makes, like, because
you gotta remember,
he had him like.
Chandler was out of energy. No, you're good. Chandler was fucking passing out after that exchange with Dustin, and he survived that flurry from Dustin at the end of the round. You know what I mean? So it's not like just because he's out of stamina, he's out. Charles hits fucking hard.
Yeah, Gaethje said that most definitely. Gaethje said he hits harder than he looks, most def. I just think it's a closer fight than people think, man. Like, I do, bro. I get he's coming off a layoff and shit, but like, we've seen like that's done good for certain fighters, and that doesn't affect good fighters. He hasn't fought in, I think it was like 733 days or something like that. I mean, it's whatever, man. Like, dudes can't stay here all night. You feel me? I just think it's fucking close, man. Like, for real. I'm gonna go with Charles because he's been active. He's been active. Uh, the fight speed, I think he'll be used to it. He's fought him before, so he knows what to expect. In terms of the wrestling, the power. I think he just has. I think he just has to. I think he just has to honestly really just play it smart. Pick the shot. And just pick the shot. Honestly, I think he just has to play it smart. Watch out for the first round. I think Chandler might win the first round. He did it the first time. I think he could do it again, just with his pace, his aggression. And like he's a seasoned grappler too. He comes from Kill Cliff. Those dudes have a bunch of grapplers over there. So I know Charles is literally one of the greatest grapplers in UFC history, if not the greatest grappler in UFC history. He has the most submissions ever. So we'll see how it goes. But I feel you guys in the chat, man. Like I understand. Like I get it. The boys think. Like, we'll see how it goes, man. I think it's a close fight, though. Like, 1,000%. But, yeah, moving on, though, to the main event of Ultimate Fighting Championship 309, the ending scene, as I like to say, of the movie. Yeah, man, we have the UFC Heavyweight Championship between Jonathan Dwight Jones and Stipe, the Croatian Miocic. Yeah, man, like, oh man, this fight, man, like, not like in a bad way. It just hurts, man, because I love both these dudes. I've been watching both these dudes for super duper long time, and it's just damn, man. Like, regardless of whatever happens in this fight, obviously both of these dudes are one step closer to never fighting ever again. If they decide to keep going after winner or loser decides to do whatever, but and see, like, and like for me, like, I guess this can be a good segue into the breakdown. I can do Stipe, and you can do Jonathan. I wish I could do John too. No, it's like I love John.
Break them both down. You're good, bro.
Oh no, you're straight, bro. Hell no, it's all good. I love Stipe. I love Stipe Stone Cold Miocic most definitely. Obviously the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time, if not the greatest heavyweight of all time in martial arts history. He defended the title 3 times before he lost it. The first time around at UFC 226 when he got knocked out by Daniel Cormier. Obviously, that set them both off on a trilogy that would, I think it was like 1 fight per year is how it went down. And then Stipe won the trilogy. I had Stipe in the first fight back at UFC 226. I was shocked when he got knocked out the way that he did. I just couldn't fucking believe it. I'll be quite honest. I was happy for DC, but I couldn't believe it. I've always been a fan of Stipe. I just think people have always disrespected him throughout the course of his entire career. I think it's because his personality, he doesn't really talk trash like that. Likes to let his actions speak, obviously. And when he hit his prime, because he had some losses, like the Stephen Struve, and the JDS, that was a competitive fight, but the first one, but of course he did go on to lose it. He just turned the corner. Obviously, we saw at UFC 198 where he knocked out Fabricio Verdum to become the heavyweight champion. And then after that, he knocked out Alistair Overeem, knocked out JDS, dominated Francis Ngannou back when Francis was a monster, no injuries, no nothing. He was a straight killer, knocking out everyone in less than a minute, no exaggeration. And Stipe, weathered the storm and made it look easy in the championship rounds, and he beat Francis Ngannou, you feel me? Of course, we saw in the rematch, getting to Stipe's most recent fight, he did lose to Francis Ngannou. Ngannou was given all the time in the world, to make the adjustments. I know he watched that first fight over and over and over and over and over to make sure he didn't make the same mistake in the rematch. The biggest thing about that fight, in my opinion, was that if y'all remember, Ngannou had a 30-pound weight difference over Stipe Miocic. I think Stipe, he was just super skinny in the DC fights. I think he just wanted to just really cut down. He didn't want to be that big anymore. He grew his hair out. He started just get more comfortable and stuff like that. Compared to when he was the champion the first time around, he was really big. When he fought Alistair. Like he was really big. He was really big. Like back during his first title reign. And yeah, he has great wrestling. He's a Golden Glove boxer, 2 time. He's a phenomenal boxer, most definitely. He's gotten a bunch of knockouts in championship title fights. And yeah, I do agree. I would have liked this. Me personally, I thought it was absolutely perfect, for both fighters because DC retired shortly after. So I thought it would have been good for Stipe to retire too. I actually could have low key opened up the door because Jon's last title defense was UFC 247 when he fought Dominic Reyes in Houston, Texas. So that really could have made like a vacant title fight and really kind of open, like who knows, like Jon could have stepped up maybe sooner. Of course he still had to put the weight on and stuff like that, which took 3 years. But still, though, hey, who never know, But yeah, Stipe decided to keep fighting, and he fought Ngannou the second time around. He beat him, so I'm pretty sure he thought he could beat him again, most definitely. And that, unfortunately, that was not the case. But yeah, Stipe is a great fighter. I feel like a lot of people just didn't get to see him fight when he was in his prime. Unfortunately, it's been a long time since he even stepped into the cage. The last time he was in the cage, he was indeed the champion, so we can't forget about that. It's not like it's not like he's on like a 4-5 win streak. It's not like Stipe's on like a 4-5 win streak. And he's getting a title shot. It's off like being the greatest of all time for like having crazy title defenses in like 2014, 15. He was the champion 2017, 2018, all that kind of stuff. But he was also the champion in 2021 and stuff like that. So like he was still a relatively good fighter. It's not like he was on a downward spiral. I think he really just wanted to take a lot of time off after that Ngannou knockout. And like the pandemic obviously made things difficult. And I think he knew he wanted to put more weight on because he knew he was going to get another title shot. And look what happened. So, yeah, I'm not just rambling on. I feel like all of those things I stated are facts. To bring his guns. Like, come on, bro. Yo, you're killing me. Y'all are killing me in the chat tonight. But yeah, to keep it all serious though, because it might be the last fight for both of these legends. That's the last thing I'll really say. I feel like a lot of like the disrespect comes from people. Like a lot of people didn't get to see him fight, unfortunately. And like it is what it is. Time goes on, and that's just that's the UFC, and like it's gonna keep going on. But and yeah, like NA, just like FM said, you feel me? This is the heavyweight division, and I get it. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, he's 42. He's 42." Look what Glover Teixeira did with 60 less pounds in the division. And he was beating up Yuri Prohaska, and he submitted Jan Blachowicz and like all those things. I think that it's different now in MMA. These guys keep themselves in shape. I think with Stipe, like it depends. How long was he training, having to be a full-time firefighter? And trying to be an MMA fighter, knowing that he had that title shot in his back pocket. And yeah, like that's really like the last thing I'll honestly wrap it up on. Like disrespect Stipe Miocic, regardless whatever happens here. He was disrespected. He was disrespected when he was the champion anyway, so it's nothing new. If you go back and watch all those fights, he was literally the underdog in every single one because he had lost to JDS before that. He knocked him out in the rematch. Alistair Overeem, people just thought he was the better striker, stuff like that. And Stipe finished him in the first round. Of course, that was a pretty crazy first round. And obviously, we saw what happened in the Francis Ngannou fight, where it's, obviously Stipe was obviously a huge underdog, got no promotion, and he made it look easy. So Stipe has been doubted a million times. So this is literally nothing new. I'm glad I got the chance to say this because I feel like it's a lot of people, and like it's not like no casual stuff, no casual, none of that. Like people find the sport whenever they want to, and they start watching. As long as they just don't like disrespect the legends, like that's it. You feel me? Like because like his resume is amazing. There isn't a better heavyweight with a better resume than him, and I mean that 1,000%. And yeah, like he has a great skill set, and just like Bismarck, and just like Bismarck said, you feel me? Like Glover Teixeira really, I feel like really changed the game, and that was at light heavyweight. And of course, people can say whatever they want about Yuri Prohaska. Obviously, he lost to Alex Pereira, this and that. But back during that time, Yuri was that new dude, and like Glover was like almost like he almost beat him 4-1 before he got submitted at UFC 275. So we've seen older fighters, especially in the heavier weight classes, look better before, and especially a legendary fighter like this. But yeah, Can Stipe survive the eye pokes? Most definitely. And this, and I know I'm talking a lot. It's the main event though. It's the last fight of the night, guys. So, last thing I do want to say is for those that think he's gonna get like just grappled like that, Stipe is a great wrestler. He took down Daniel Cormier. Similar, like just like Jon Jones did as well. But Stipe can definitely wrestle. The biggest thing going against him in this fight is just the fight speed. He hasn't fought in a while. John's coming off an injury though, so I do think it does kind of even out. You know, John's coming off a torn pectoral muscle, and that can definitely interfere with the grappling, no matter how long he took off. And Stipe's not going to just sit there and let him just like hold him. Like, nah, Stipe's strong as hell. I think the time off was really good for him. I'm not making picks yet, y'all, so like calm down. But yeah, that was it. I just really want to get that off my chest, man. Because a lot of people feel like Stipe just like has just like no skill, man. Like he's not a great boxer. Like he doesn't have great knockouts. He's a great wrestler. He has good cardio. He doesn't gas out. He has knockouts moving backwards. Like not everybody can do that. And yeah, I do think he's the better boxer 1000% in going into this fight. Now, boxing isn't the whole facet of striking. Obviously, Jones probably has better kicks 1000%. But I'm not gonna say nothing about Jones. I'm gonna let Nikki have that. And yeah, man. That's it, y'all. Just respect Stipe. This might be the last time I get to break a fight of his down. So I love Stipe Miocic. Most definitely. That's not like no corny shit. I've been watching for a long time. And when you see him like just bring the belt home over and over and over, and then he lost it, and then he won it again, and then he lost it, and it's just like, you know, it takes a lot to continue to fight, man. And especially when you don't have to. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens. And yo, we're gonna talk about this in a minute. So y'all can definitely keep your opinions on this conversation for sure. But yeah, Nikki, go ahead for sure, bro.
Yeah, man. Got the goat of mixed martial arts. You know, I don't think there's much discussion to it. I mean, you know, resumes speak for themselves. Jon Jones is the greatest to do it. 6 wins before he got his first title shot. 7, depending on how you view the Matt Hamill situation. It was, you know, the 12-6 elbows, which are now allowed in the UFC. But yeah, he got that first shot against Shogun Rua, youngest champion ever, and he went on to have a great, great career after that. He fought many legends, you know, Quentin Jackson, put, you know, Machida body cold on the ground, Rashad Evans, you know, these were unanimous decisions for a long time in his career. Vitor Belfort, he had a, you know, armbar scare and then, you know, submits him later in that fight. Chael Sonnen made easy work of that fight. Gustafsson had an amazing all-time fight there. Glover Teixeira, at that time a future champion. DC, at that time a future champion, had a great fight there. They were going back and forth for a little bit, but Jon Jones really just outdid him in that fight. OSP beat him there. DC in the other fight, you know, that one got turned to a no contest after the knockout, though. Happened. Had the rematch with Gustafsson again, put him out there. You know, leave no questions at the table. He did that in his career. Anthony Smith, that fight, you know, that fight could have been an L on his record, but Anthony Smith didn't let that happen. He wanted to get back in there and fight. Got the Thiago Santos fight. That was the first one. Then he had a split decision in his career, and people were like, wow, this fight was so close. I think Jon Jones lost it. He didn't lose it. He has the win on his record. Dominic Reyes, another fight. People thought Dominic won that one. He has that win on his resume forever. I want to come back to that Dominic Reyes fight after when we're talking about the whole Tom Aspinall situation, because that's a really interesting story. And I think that fight is a big reason with how people react to that fight as to why he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Then he took 3 years off, wanted to put on that weight. The Ngannou fight was talked about. We don't know why it happened. There's like 2 different stories, and we're never going to get the truth to it. It's over. Probably will never happen, but you never know. They're both the champions in 2 different organizations now. Came back at heavyweight, put Cyril Gane, the best heavyweight in the UFC at the time, choked him out right away, made that look easy work. And he was supposed to fight Stipe a year ago, and he tore his pec, obviously, as we all know. Now he's back. He didn't want anyone else. They both wanted who they signed for, respectfully so. And here they are in 2024. You got the GOAT versus the heavyweight GOAT. Man, like I see why people don't want this fight. There's a group of people online who do not want this fight. And it's, I respect their opinions, right? I don't agree with them, but I respect them. They're allowed to say that. This is the perfect time to jump into that whole segue because like that fight happened. In the summer, Tom Aspinall fought as the number 5 ranked fighter, fought number 10 Marcin Tybura, and he put him out in the first round. Like he has everyone else, he puts them out in the first round. And as this fight was coming up, Sergey Pavlovich was the backup fighter. Jon Jones was injured. Stipe doesn't want to fight anyone else. Stipe didn't come out of retirement to fight anyone else but Jon Jones. He deserves that fight if he's going to get any fight back. So their fight was scheduled for maybe in the summer. No one knows. I think the UFC knew instantly we're going to wait a year. We want them in New York for Jon Jones' potential last fight. Tom becomes the interim champion. Now, I don't think really anyone thought he was going to knock out Pavlovich the way he did. I mean, that was like impressive. That night, I gave him his props at the end of the night. I was like, yo, you deserve that. I didn't pick you, but, great performance, great story, all that. But as time passed and people got so bored that Jon Jones wouldn't just say, fuck Stipe, give me Aspinall. Man, the narrative has changed so much and the hate has built up so much. And Jon Jones does not want to fight Aspinall. He's entitled to that. After the career he's had, he's entitled to anything he wants to do. He wants to fight Stipe, he's going to fight Stipe Miocic. Aspinall was trying to do everything. And I don't think Aspinall took the right route to get this fight. If he really wanted this Jon Jones fight, he's not getting on the mic. Hey, Jon, how you doing, buddy? No, bro, you have to shit talk him if you want him. You had to piss him off. You pissed him off by being annoying, by being like a fly. He just had to keep swatting away. And that was where Aspinall went wrong, in my opinion. He was trying to nice guy it and all this. Jones wasn't looking for a nice guy. He ruined that path to getting it. At this point, Jon said he'll throw the title up after this fight and go fight Pereira as a money fight, retirement fight. But yeah, you could chime in because I know you got a lot to say. I mean, we've been talking about this Aspinall situation, Jones situation for a long time.
Yeah, man. Like, I'll just go ahead and be like honestly frank about it. I just think like the Jon disrespect, like, it's kind of crazy. I don't think he's scared of anyone. Like, not a single man on earth. To say he's scared is like crazy. Would he fight him? I think if Dana put up like 50 million, like 100 million, he'd fight him in a heartbeat. You feel me? I don't think he'd think of that's like generational wealth, win or lose, But I think at this point in his career, his record does mean a lot to him. He used to have a lot of endorsements, like his Nike endorsement, back like in like his early portion of his first title reign, when he was just young and he was like 24 years old and he was super marketable. So he really was on his way to being like the actual like poster boy for the UFC, and he still could have been for a long time if he, to stay focused, But talking about the Aspinall situation, I just think it's really disrespectful. You feel me? Like to say that Aspinall is the greatest of all time is just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. And like because I get why people would say like he's ducking him and like this and that, but at the end of the day, like he can choose whoever he wants to fight. I think he would fight Aspinall if the money was right, obviously. And like, yeah, he's saying that he hasn't done anything to deserve the fight. I mean, yeah, like, because he's not wrong in a sense, because, obviously Curtis Blades have been knocked out before. Sergey Pavlovich had been finished by Alistair Overeem. And outside of that, like he finished like Sergey Pavlovich, he finished he finished Sergey Spivak, he finished Jake Collier.
Volkov was an impressive win.
Volkov, like that, and like, yeah, that was a great one, especially looking back on it. So he did indeed show his level in that fight. Um, like he did indeed show his level in that fight. And like this is another thing too. It's just really annoying how people really try to discredit everything Jon has done. A lot of people like did it. You know how like if you see that Tapology picture right there, like like that dude right there, like a lot of people didn't get like to see. Like even if you click on like his page, please, like a lot of people didn't get to like see like that apex predator like in the cage. Like if you could zoom in a little bit, you feel me? Like a lot of people didn't get to see that. Like like that like that was from like literally from the Lyoto fight when he finished Machida with the guillotine, standing against the cage. You feel me? A lot of people didn't get to see that version of him. They just see all the jokes on social media. Oh, he doesn't fight, this and that. Oh, old man Jones, this and that. And like, and then obviously you hear about his controversies, but it clouds the reason why millions of people all over the world still are going to go see him fight. I went to UFC 285 last year, back in March. And when I went out there was like everyone was there for Jon Jones. Of course, like, it's America. It wasn't in Paris or nothing like that for Cyril Gaunt fans. But it was really cool to see like even I saw groups of all women going to support Jon Jones. And I get it, y'all. Like, obviously there's like, he's like, there's some bad stuff. And obviously, like, I don't got to say, y'all already know, you feel me? I do not got to say it on here. You feel me? And that's really honestly like just really like the biggest point of the conversation with me. Like, I don't like when people try to say he's scared. You got people who've never been in a street fight before trying to say Jon Jones is scared. Like, since the age of 23, he's fought the absolute best fighter available. Like, any person, because even people want to bring up the Chael Sonnen and shit. Like, I think that was him just being in a bad mood. That probably pissed him off, man. Like, nah, they're not gonna try to force me to do like something I don't want to do. And when they fought, what happened? He murdered him in the first round with a broken toe. Like, come on, man. And then he went to Jamaica afterwards. Like seriously. Like, I really think that he said Aspinall is scared. And don't get me wrong, y'all. Because I don't want it to seem like so one-sided. Like, Aspinall has the potential to obviously go on and be the greatest heavyweight of all time. I don't think that's a hot take, given his age at 31 years old and his skill set, the striking, the grappling, the chin. He's been cracked before flush on the chin, and he's been perfectly fine. So I do think he is indeed a special fighter, 1,000%. He has that aura himself. He hasn't had a real UFC loss yet. Of course, he had an injury, but he's still undefeated inside the UFC. So there has not been that image of him getting dominated or taken down or, anything like that, or dropped or anything like that, I just think to say that, like, I see, like, and even Eben, like, he's been fairly objective in the chat, and he still thinks that Aspinall beats Jones. You feel me? For me, it's more so like, it's Aspinall's not getting out the first round. I think Jon could get that out the first round. He's not. What's he gonna do? Just get flurried and knocked out in the first round? I don't think so. Jon's too smart for that. Like, I think if he gets his hands on him, like, he could drown that dude. He could definitely get him to the ground. Like, I think Aspinall's a big guy, but so is Jon. Like, and when that's another thing. When people see him at the face-offs and stuff, they forget how big he was at light. He was huge at light heavyweight, and now he's really taking the time to really get the physique right and really get this right. I really try to show people, and I get out of all the fights, it's this one where he's fighting an older dude, past the age of 40. But we're talking about the Jones versus Aspinall. I will say this, though, because we can't spend too much time on it. I do think that it'll go on to be one of the greatest fights of all time that might never happen. And like I literally just said, like, Edmund's been really objective himself, and we'll see what happens. I get it. He says Jones has been avoiding it. In his defense, him and Stipe were supposed to fight before Aspinall came into the picture with the belt. Of course, once the interim champion does happen, you must unify. But, if we look back on it, at UFC 217, GSP didn't fight Robert Whittaker after he choked out Michael Bisping, and Robert Whittaker got the interim title fight at UFC 213. But no one says GSP was ducking Robert Whittaker. And I think a 26-year-old Robert Whittaker would have given a 38-year-old George St. Pierre some problem. GSP was 36, but I think it would have given him some problems for sure, you know, especially a prime Whitaker like that, you know. Of course, it's still GSP. I'm not saying he would have beat him. And like, yo, can you imagine that? Can you imagine how many people would be picking? Like, yo, I promise you, there'd be people picking a 36-year-old George St. Pierre to beat a 26-year-old Robert Whitaker. I promise you, like, that would have happened back then, bro. And it sucks that shit didn't happen. You feel me? And yeah, man, and like I get it, like too old and stuff, and for sure, and like Edmund's right about that. Like, cause that's another thing. People keep saying lay off. Like, man, he was putting on the weight and he came back. Like, it's not like, I mean, he literally said he's always said he always wanted to go up to heavyweight. And everyone was so surprised when he did it. And now he hasn't fought in forever. Like, come on, man. Like, he was putting on weight. Like, we know what took him so long. He was putting on weight, man. And like, and he won. And obviously at 285, he's a little chubby. I think this time around he'll be way more lean. We're recording this on Wednesday night. The weigh-ins are tomorrow. I mean, like, yo, like, bro, I get it. Like, but at the end of the day, like, it's the highest level. Like, it's the highest level, man. You can't rush into these fights not prepared, man. Especially when you're Jon Jones, man. When everybody wants you on their resume, like, there isn't a bigger name, maybe like Khabib Nurmagomedov, like, to get on a resume. This dude's 28-0. You feel me? And yeah, I mean, that's it, really. The last thing I'll say about it, just summarize everything I said. I don't think Jon Jones is scared of anybody. I don't think he would set out on a journey like this to be scared of another man, you know? And I get it, y'all. It sucks he's not fighting him. Like, I get it. Like, I get it, man. But, like, it's just crazy to see him get disrespected like this. Like, he's given us every single fight that we've wanted, we've gotten. Like, we want to see him fight Glover. He beat Glover. We're talking about Glover at 42. Jon beat him when he was 34. Like, I mean, like, he beat Mauricio Shogun Rua. He was 29. Jon was 23. Like, Lyoto was like 33. He choked him out. Like, he beat Rashad Evans, finished Rampage Jackson. Like, all these dudes. Like, he was 24 years old when he's doing all of this. Like, he finished all four of them in like a calendar year. So it's like, come on, man. He finished Rampage, Rashad, Lyoto, Mauricio, like all these dudes, man. And you know he would have finished Chuck Liddell. You know he would have finished all them dudes, bruh. Like, that's just the thing. Like a lot of people didn't get to, and like, that's the thing. Like, because we're just so quick to disrespect him, man. They don't be disrespecting LeBron. They don't disrespect Tom Brady. You feel me? And I get it. It's two different images and stuff like that. Because obviously Jones has done some shit, man. But if we're just talking about like inside of the cage, like I just think the disrespect is a little bit unwarranted. Especially like, you know, when we wouldn't say it to his face. You feel me? So I ain't gonna keep y'all too much longer.
I wanna just get like just my closing remarks on it too. It's like I think what happened with Jones's career, it's his outside of the cage antics have given people this pass to just shit on him for any little thing he does.
And of course, and I get it, bro. And like it's like how, hey, right there, you feel me? And that's what I'm saying. I get it, man. But it's like, what are we gonna be doing on Saturday night, man? We're gonna be watching this fight, bro. So like, it's just, I only say that so we can just enjoy the fight. Real victims, you know, like all that shit, of course. Like, you know, like there's never, ever. And you saw what happened with Dana, you feel me? When Dana caught that scandal, you feel me? So obviously, like Dana, I mean, for real, like it's really messed up, you know? It's just, but he's here though, and he's fighting. And like, man, it's like what you said, like, you know, we if we're gonna talk about him, at least keep it within the fights, because of course, like you can always say about stuff outside of the octagon, like, and of course it's indefensible. I'll never ever try to ever like diminish any of that stuff, like for real. And see, like, and man, like for sure. And that's the thing. And I get it. Like Jones doesn't have the most fans. Obviously, I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna watch him, though, like, come on, bro. But hey, it might be his last fight, so you might not have to watch it too much longer. And that's it, yo. And of course, hey, like I said, not defending any of the outside the cage stuff. I'm just stating on my opinion, like, yo, like, if we're gonna watch him fight, like, at least enjoy the fight. Don't just like try to like diminish what he's done, because that doesn't take away from like those long nights in the gym, like killing all the sport we love so much. He's beaten like all these legends, bruh. And like that's all I'm saying, man. Like that's all I'm saying. Like if we're gonna watch it, just enjoy it and don't like diminish what he's done inside of the cage. Outside, it's terrible. There's no defending that 1,000%. And I'll say that as well. You feel me? And that's it. I'm sorry. Continue with your point.
Nah, yeah, they're good. Just like my last thing, like I get, like I said, I get where people come from, but it's just crazy how they talk about athletes like that. Like, and I agree with you. No one would say it to his face as much as they say it. They wouldn't say it to his face. And then, like when I was saying about the Dominic Cruz situation, it's the risk benefit at this point in his career. Yes, Tom Aspinall can beat Jon Jones. Is it a definite? No. No one knows how that fight was play out. Everyone wants to see it because they think Tom could be the one to beat him. But if Jones was to take that fight, it's a lose-lose. He beats Tom Aspinall just like he did Cyril Gane. Oh, and Tom Aspinall fades off in his career. Oh, wow. It's just like the Cyril Gane fight. No one weighs it at all. If he loses, people are going to try and tarnish his legacy, and now they actually have some leverage on it because people are going to try and shit on him already. They already try and take that win away from him with him. I promise you, the same people who are saying that they want the Tom Aspinall fights are the same people that are saying the Dominic Reyes fight he lost. And it's just corny to me. They try and tear down the greatest. Like I said, he might not be a great person at heart, but this is the UFC we're talking about. This isn't like the UFC fighter lifestyle podcast. We're talking about the fight that's happening Saturday. And nothing matters besides two dudes that are fighting in a cage on Saturday. Yes, he's a piece of shit, but he also fights for a living. These dudes aren't saints. I mean, they really aren't. There's some really cool fighters in the UFC and all around, but there's also piece of shits in the UFC. You know, so it's however you want to see it. If you don't like Jon Jones, that's fine. You could skip the fight, but I don't think you're gonna. I think you guys are all gonna be sitting on your couch watching this fight on Saturday, probably hoping Jon Jones loses, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it, like 100%. And nah, yo, shout out to Admin, yo, like I feel you 100%, bro. Like, and again, like, I get why you feel the way you feel, bro. Like, I will say also, with like, it's obviously we know with Jones the whole like picogram situation and stuff like that. Yo, like a lot of people forget, not like even to, I'm not like sending stray bullets or nothing like that, but you know, Islam Makhachev tested positive for a banned substance back in 2016. And like a lot of people don't really like to talk about that because like Islam popped for a PED at one point, you know, and that was a future champion. You feel me?
Roundtree pop. People love him now.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, like, you know, like Brian Ortega popped at one point a long time ago, and I don't, you know, and I'm not saying obviously like, you know, obviously it's not a good thing. I'm just saying like, you know, because Jones already has so much controversy. Obviously, you feel me? But I think like people like, you know, with the PED stuff, we can't like, you know, I want to say pick and choose, you feel me? But I get it. It was 4 different occasions. Like he went on to explain himself. It was the picograms, and now he's saying, well, like new USADA doesn't count, stuff like that. But either way, it's still honest. It's still on his resume. And like, yo, and even how we're talking right now, it's forever gonna like just go in circles, bro. It's just, yo, like there is no, you can't have no UFC without no Jon Jones, bro. Unfortunately, you know, like no matter how many people feel about it, you know, and we're only talking strictly inside the cage, you feel me? And obviously I would never ever condone any violence against women. I have a mother, I have nieces, you know, I have all female cousins. Like I would never ever condone that ever in my life. You feel me? So no one could ever try me with that. And yeah, like that's just really it. In terms of the situation, and like, yeah, and like, see, and again, like, you know, FM said this. A lot of people feel like this in pop culture with music artists too, like Kanye West is also really polarizing, obviously, and stuff like that. But for sure, and that's really it. But to end it though, you know, we're clocking in 2 hours.
I gotta go eat my dinner. I'm starving.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, man. I was gonna go with Jon by decision, man. Like, I think push comes to shove, he'll try to play it safe, just really get the fight to the ground. I think he's gonna try to close the distance. Really just, you know, like really be aggressive, you know, really try to try to come out and really try to flurry Stipe. And of course, Jon can still box himself a little bit, but I think he's just going to try to really use his speed advantage to get to Miocic. And I love Stipe Miocic. He could definitely 1,000% win this fight. I did that long breakdown. I didn't just like throw him to the side like how some people are on Twitter and stuff like that, you know. And yeah, man, I got Jones via decision. We'll see if he does fight Aspinall. And y'all, I would love to see him fight Aspinall after this. And like that's it, you know. But yeah, how you feeling for the last pick of the night?
I'm taking Jones in this fight. I don't know. I think 2 paths to victory. I think a late sub, like 3rd, 4th round, not necessarily late by 3rd, but I think 3rd or 4th round sub, or it's going to go to a decision. Because I think people are overlooking Stipe a lot. I think he's in phenomenal shape. To do what Stipe did all his career, you don't have to be young necessarily. That's the beautiful thing about heavyweight, is that you don't have to be young to be a good heavyweight. I think everything that came from Stipe was his footwork. Maybe it might be slower, but he's not like launching around the cage. He's moving. He was always pretty, like he was a little agile, but he wasn't moving very far. He moved in his space, and he had great boxing. That's what it really came from. I think the wear and tear of his career now that he's 42. Yes, I think when Jones starts to grapple with him, because I do think Jones will get him to the ground, I think Jones will definitely, tire him out. That's why I think around 3 or 4 sub. I think Stipe will wear out by 4th round, personally. If it does go that far, and he would submit him there. And if he didn't, I don't think we also have to see how Jones will look in round 4 and 5 as a heavyweight. He does look in great shape, but we would also have to see, because this isn't what he's used to. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Before we end, real quick, do you think we should separate the art from the artist with someone like Brett Favre? Like, I get it. Brett Favre was shit. He took money from people, and but. And it's like the same thing. Like, you could talk about Karl Malone. Piece of shit should go to hell, right? But like, that doesn't take away that Karl Malone is a NBA legend. He's on that NBA
greatest
top
power forwards ever.
It still happened, bro. He still made his legacy. It's not like God forbid he got shot and dead. His career ended when that happened. It's not. Like, he had his career. Brett Favre had his career. Jon Jones had his career. Conor McGregor's a piece of shit. He had his career. And it happens. Like, I get it. People are bad people. These athletes, these rappers, everything. Some of these people are really bad people. But people still listen to their music. They still watch their fights. And that's what happens. They still watch their highlights. I mean, Brett Favre, for example, his highlights don't go away. His achievements do not go away. There's still quarterbacks that come in the league and have to pass those accolades to make it to the Hall of Fame.
There's someone out there wearing his jersey right now in the world. Best believe it. Not even thinking about all like the obviously the welfare stuff and stuff. And that's terrible. Like, he's obviously
with Diddy and R. Kelly. Listen, man. and that's why everyone's online joking about the Diddy party, because he was so iconic, growing up to a lot of people.
Right.
Now they just can't stop saying Diddy party, because it's funny to them. It's not like, for some people, they're not thinking I know it's not like the greatest thing. They're not thinking about the actual what happened with Diddy. With he held this dirt on people's names, had them doing this crazy shit. It's just a joke to them at this point. Diddy party, baby oil, blah blah blah. So that's what it is, And people they think Jon Jones is a piece of shit. You're entitled to, but he is still the great. Tell me someone with a greater UFC resume, a greater MMA resume. I personally don't see one. The names that he's beaten, I don't see one. So that's it, man.
Yeah, man. Again, I want to appreciate y'all for joining us for episode 35 of MMAHOLICS. Oh yeah, on the way out. Fuck, man. I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson. I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson.
I want to see that. I think Mike
You
could
want to
pack
see
him up
him win,
too.
man. I just really want to see him win. I got Mike Tyson for you for y'all that are watching. Tyson versus Paul tomorrow. I do have Mike Tyson, man. I know he might
Nah, it's
only have,
Friday. It's not tomorrow. It's
I
Friday.
mean, yeah, Friday. I mean, yeah, today's Wednesday. I'm sorry about that. I know that he might only have one round in him, but I do have Mike Tyson. Thank you so much to FM for joining us on this show. This is his first time popping in here. You gave us some great content, man. Like great insight. Really appreciate you. Good night to you as well, bro. God bless you and your family. Shout out to Evan, most definitely. Great dude. Like, always having him in the chat. You feel me? And yeah, man, I love I love it when you pop in because you always tell on your opinions. And it's a lot of too many dudes to count. Lost Soul, Eagle MMA, Magic 7, Tai Bats. All these dudes, Ernie, Pickham's Women in MMA. Thank you all for joining us. Really do appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to us. We love doing this for y'all. And we'll come back to us when we break down the UFC Macau card. We'll send out a date on the community post for when we will schedule that breakdown.
Hopefully Wednesday. I think Wednesday moving forward is going to be our day. It works for us best.
Got you. Sounds good. Thank you so much again for joining us, guys. God bless you all and good night. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Enjoy the fights.